earth. Some move like David, couple seven.
Put a blue on my shirt to make this brand. It's a living. So y'all young, let's worship my spiritual body. Need protection, so I have to obey. A lot of things have been revealed to me. I'm keeping the faith. Like, how you gonna stop the flesh? It's showing him when it's right in your face. It's his course must be thinking. We meet in the case. Yeah.
I'm out the way, in order for time for the wake and bake. Ain't talking dank, the only thing burning is bird frame. Gotta make the gate, 10 minutes and I'm about to elevate and meditate, annihilate. A demon night now I won't be late. They think I'm sleep, but really I'm giving meat offerings. Priesthood offer peace, sacrifice of what they was supposed to see. We don't offer geese, that's physical, but I'ma offer me. No more physical, on the altar of Bobby Yahweh, from that immortal tree. Blessed the day and do his commandment. The tree of life is his right. Blessed are they that do his commandment. The tree of life is his right.
Shabbat Shalom to the priesthood, the congregation of the Seventh Covenant. Also Shalom to our Hebrew constituents near and far, spread it throughout the four corners of the earth, and all of those who have joined us anew and don't really know what we're all about here at the House of Wisdom. We welcome you. So we're going into this week another part of the series of the 10 horns. Yaradan brought us in with this, dealing with the 10 toes, the 10 horns, from Daniel's vision, going all the way to John's vision, which we found out in here at the House of Wisdom. As we're going through the prophecies, well, I'll say for me, and everybody else should be seeing the synology of it, right? That everything that the prophets prophesied, they were the same. You didn't have one prophet prophesying something different than another prophet. They might have explained it in a different way, but it ultimately meant the same thing. So we had Yaradan the last 2 weeks dealing with the first of the 10 horns, and then also the second and the third of the 10 horns. We had the Ottoman Empire that he went into very eloquently. So much information in that class, we had to do the Ottomans for one class. And then he came back with Spain and Portugal, the second and the third horns of this beast that had 7 heads and 10 horns. In fact, Rashim, if you can give me Revelation, the 12th chapter and the 3rd verse, and go ahead and just read that, and then we'll continue on.
Revelation chapter 12 and verse 3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads.
So we went over this breakdown about the 7 heads and the 10 horns, and we broke down that the seven heads, very detailed, that the 7 heads are starting with the Mesopotamian Empire, which tried to destroy Abraham and his people at the time during the rule of Nimrod in Mesopotamia. Then we had, coming up next was the Egyptians that was in rulership. And from the Egyptians, you had the Assyrians, the Babylonians. Then you had the Persian and the Medes Empire. We had the Greeks and then the Romans. Romans ending up with the 7. And then Daniel and also John spoke of the 10 horns, which we're carrying out this series, breaking down to you the 10 horns or the 10 toes. They're one and the same. And I'll bring out the toes for this particular reason. So Yaradan went in the first, second, and third rulership of the horns, which was, again, the Ottoman Empire. We have the Portuguese, and then also the Spanish. And each one of these powers was given the honor, not righteously, but among the wicked, to be able to rule and to continue to persecute the children of Israel. The Ottomans being one of the first, then the Portuguese, and then the Spanish came after. And they all had their part in doing what they've done to Israel, putting them in captivity, mistreating them, treating them illy. But also, you have to remember that these horns, right, and you need to pay close attention to these horns. And I'm going to represent the toes, right, because they went over, and then we'll go into the announcements, right? They went over the beast that Nebuchadnezzar saw. And the head, the beginning of this, which wasn't of the 7 heads, but it was starting from the Babylonian Empire, which Nebuchadnezzar, which was the king of Babylon, wanted to understand what the dream was. So the dream was given to Daniel, the understanding of it, basically starting from that 4th empire, coming down to the ending of the Roman Empire, which perfectly goes well with the 7 heads and the 10 horns that is recorded in Revelations. So understanding that, right, you had the head, the Babylonian Empire that came in, which was of gold. Then you had the silver, right, the Persians and the Medes Empire. Then you had the Bronze Age going into, from the Persians and the Medes, the Greeks, and then you had the Romans. So the Romans was the iron, but then you had the 10 toes, right? And I bring this out specifically because in those 10 toes, right, they were all jockeying for position to rule 1 hour with the beast. And we see the Ottoman Empire had their rule. The Ottoman Empire is not coming back into rulership. They had their turn already. Then you had the Portuguese, and then you had the Spanish. They also had their time to rule. The Spanish or Spain is not going to come up and all of a sudden be this world economic superpower after all of this that's going on now. They had their time to rule. And what you need to remember is after the 10 toes rule, and we'll be going through all the 10 toes and showing you who is the last rulership. After that, there is no rulership other than the children of Israel afterwards. So we're at the ending of this thing here. We started from the head, right, from Daniel, and now we're at the 10 toes, right? In this particular class, we're going from into the 3rd and the 4th horn that was in power and rulership after the Portuguese and the Spanish. So we're going into this 5th horn that ruled, 4 and 5. And as we continue the series up until the Feast of Weeks, the closing of the Feast of Weeks, you'll see at the ending of this thing who is the rulers at the end, and know for a surety this time is up. You know, many to Cal up Farson. For those that have been watching the series and watching these classes, you already know that their time here is up.
That's it.
My personal opinion, I don't see this thing going past 20 more years,
Me too,
30 more
Chris.
years. And I won't give away the rest because we want to keep that to the end. But based upon what's going on now and what's been going on, I don't see there being that much time left. So before we get started with the class, we're going to go ahead and do the announcements, as we always do at this time.
Can I add something, Priest?
Go right ahead.
So also, too, the focus of this lesson, when he described the toes, it was a mixture of iron and clay.
Mm-hmm.
These 10 romance kingdoms, as we have titled it, they're not in unity. They're not in unison, but they're all trying to advance the Roman Empire.
Done.
So keep that in mind. They're trying to advance the Roman Empire. And as he pointed out with the statue or this vision that he had, we see 2 legs, right, that represent the Roman Empire. there was a split. We have the western and the eastern side of the Roman Empire. So there's division here, but they're still trying to advance the Roman Empire. So keep that in mind as we're going over the lesson.
Right. That was a good point that he brought out too. And also, when you look at the two arms, because he brought out the two legs, the two parts of the Roman Empire, what we talking about, the two arms was the part of the Medo-Persian Empire. One was the Medes and the other was the Persians. And they were actually family. I think it was the grandfather and then his grandson came in to power and they joined forces, being the Medo-Persian Empire. So yeah, that was a great point. So we're coming to the end of this road, and I really believe that the Holy Spirit is giving us this information because it is information that is needed now more than ever before. Why? Because the end is coming, right? So before we continue on with that, we're going to go ahead and continue with the announcements and then begin this Shabbat class titled The 10 Horns. Was it British and the Dutch? Oh, what is that title? Khan. Okay, there we go.
The Dutch, yep.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and talk about the calendar. Here we go. The 9th edition. It is here. It's finally here. And as always, as all the other calendars, there's always important, pertinent information in these calendars. So as you already know, if you don't, the 5th edition, we're all out. Calendrical Study Guide, it's over.
It's over.
So if you're trying to get a copy, you will probably not be able to get a copy unless you buy it off of someone. And if it was me, the scriptures say, buy the truth and sell it not. You wouldn't get my copy. You would have to get your own. There is no more. So we have the 4th edition, which is going also into the Tree of Life, and then the 8th edition, which is going into the Epoch of the Sun. So a lot of information in these calendars. They're just not regular calendars where you go on and you see the Roman names that are in the calendar. We have the Hebrew names and the Hebrew days. It's conflated with the Roman calendar only because a lot of us that are not familiar with the Hebrew will be quite confused with it. But everything is there. Everything that you need to know is in there. How to come and when to come to the feast are there. So it would definitely be imperative for you to go ahead and purchase that calendar. Also, we have the Feast of Ingathering, right? The closing of it coming in another, maybe another 2 or 3 more weeks.
Actually, this is the end of the 3rd week, so 4 weeks.
4 weeks, yeah. We got 4 more weeks coming up for the Ingathering. I don't know if the registration is up now, but as soon as it's up, I'm sure that one of the priests that are here will definitely make mention of it. For those that are constantly on the City of Adam, you'll see it posted when Kahan Yaradan actually posted on the site, or whatever priest that's in charge of that at that particular time. So when it comes up, we want everybody, whether you're not coming or whether you're coming, to go ahead and register for the feast so we can have a head count of who's coming and make sure that everybody during the feast can at least enjoy themselves with some victuals, something to eat, and something good to eat, I might add. Also, consecrations. If you're looking to be consecrated, there is not a better time to be consecrated than in a feast or a Shabbat. So if you want to come to the feast and be consecrated, you make sure you let someone here at the House of Wisdom know that you would like to be consecrated during that particular time. And before you do so, you just make sure you watch that consecration video so they can make things a lot easier for the priesthood that is here. So we're not going over a full class with you when you get here. So make sure that that's out of the way and that you make sure that the priesthood here at the House of Wisdom know that you want to be consecrated on those particular days. Especially outside of those days, you definitely want to make sure that somebody from the House of Wisdom knows so that they can be here if it's on a day like a 2nd day, 3rd day, 4th day, or 5th day, and maybe even the 6th day, which is Monday through Friday, for those of you who don't know. So go ahead and register if you want to be consecrated. And then also we have the city of Adam. If you have not registered with the city of Adam and signed up to the city of Adam, you need to do so, because there are a lot of things that are getting ready to go on in the city of Adam on the site that we will not be putting out on YouTube anymore. You know, there's too much thwarting. There's too much negativity going on. As soon as you say a particular word, they want to shut you down and take your video away. Listen, we're done with all of that.
Yeah.
This is why we have the city of Adam. So we'll have those courses on there that are a little more of a deep dive into prophecy, into the calendars, going over the calendar, going over the prophecies that haven't been broken down yet, a full explanation or a full breakdown of Revelations. It's pretty much in pieces been done, but I guess in this course that's going on the city of Adam, it'll be a full course for you to go back to whenever you need to study, to restudy, to get this thing in your chambers of imagery. Also, we have that AP6 class, AP6 candidate class. If you're interested in becoming a priest, if you're interested in knowing and understanding the operations of the priesthood, and you want to be a part, then go to the city of Adam and sign up for this AP6 class. It's life-changing. All I can say is life-changing, and it's done wonders for me. It's not what I thought it was. It's actually more than what I thought it was, because ultimately when I got myself involved, I was like, man, what did I get myself involved in? But ultimately, as you're in it and you're working it, this is what I've been prepared for all my life. You know, the Most High has been, I've never went into an Israelite group and didn't do anything. Just come to class and go home. I was always there being a participant wherever it is I went. So this was the next stage of my life, coming into the priesthood, although I didn't know it. And I wasn't even looking to be a part of a priesthood. I just wanted to understand the truth of the Most High and how Yahweh Shai delivered it unto his apostles. And I believe at this particular time right now, doing all the research that I've done in all these Israelite groups, I believe this right here, the House of Wisdom, hands down, has it. And the only way you'll know about it or know is if you come in and you do the research. You know, don't get lazy with it. No, and I'm just going to say it like it is. A lot of old heads from out of One West, they haven't came here yet because they either got a lot of money invested and they don't want to leave that money on the table, or it to come to the House of Wisdom, or they're too lazy to do the research and the studying that we have done here at the House of Wisdom. All the books that we use that you guys don't use. We got Enoch, we got Jasher, we got first and second book of Adam and Eve. I mean, there's a whole plethora of books. And I know that's what you're thinking, because when I came in here, and then we'll move on, I was like, man, that's a lot of work. Man, I got to start linking all these links in these different books. How am I going to do that? The Holy Spirit just said, listen, just go to the class and take it one day at a time. There's a saying, right? How do you eat a large creature? You know, one bite at a time. One bite at a time. Take that one step at a time, you know, and you'll eventually get there. Like I said, the years that I've been in here, I'm amazed at what I've learned and all the precepts that I learned, but it took that stick-to-itness and that ability to want to understand and learn. So the AP class, if you're interested. So we have the tights. Also, we have available here. If you want to buy the tights, go into the city of Adam. We have the flour. We have the incense. We have the Himalayan salt. We have the different types of wine that we've done with our own hands. The flour mixture, the wine, and all the other things. We made sure that everything was done responsibly by the hands of the priesthood that is here at the House of Wisdom. Because outside of that, prior to that, we were depending and receiving these tights from strangers. When I mean strangers, you guys was going out years ago to Walmart, to wherever they were selling flour or these tights and bringing it into us, and it ended up being contaminated in a bad way. So we decided, by way of the Holy Spirit, we're going to do this ourselves. It's a lot more work to do it, but it's a lot better and much more gratifying to know that what we're giving you to the congregation and those that are ordering this stuff a good quality product that is acceptable for the oblations of the Heavenly Father. Think about it. You go out there and you buy that cheap tiny hat drink that they sell in the store, MD 2020,
yeah.
and it's contaminated. If you're using that for your feast, well, I know you ain't giving up sacrifices, but if you're using it in your feast, it's an abomination. A lot of that was cleansed with pork byproducts. And I know you didn't know that because I had no idea that you can clean wine with animal byproducts.
Right.
How crazy is that? And they use the pork byproduct. So you want to get some clean tights? Order here from the House of Wisdom. So we all know that tights is dealing with your agriculture. It has never been about money. Deuteronomy tells you that. I think it's Deuteronomy, 16 that mentioned it. But nonetheless, just look it up. You'll find it. Tights was never money. If you was going on a long journey, then you would take your tights and sell it for the money and take the money with you, because the money in a long travel was a lot lighter than all of those products that you was carrying. And then when you got to the city of Jerusalem, you would buy back those tights and either offer it to the priesthood or use them for yourselves. So tights are not money. They are agriculture. So we have next coming up on this list is the free will offerings. Now that's money. And anything that you can donate, whether it's cars, vans, land, buildings, money, whatever it is that you can help or give that the House of Wisdom may need, is called a free will offering. And you know the Lord loves a cheerful giver. So that's when that applies. Not the tithes, but the free will offering. So you give what you can. Whatever it is that you can give, you give it freely. And now we have the Messianic book.
So
Rashim will go over that.
Messianic Faith, profound book. We go over it every week. This book has been in publishing for 20 years now. And for all the Israelites that are watching this, most people that watch our, these classes, I tend to believe that you want to please the Most High, right? If you want to please the Most High, you must understand what faith is, according to Hebrews 11. So I'm talking to all our Israelite Hebrew constituents. We can't go by the Gentile breakdown of faith. We need to look at it from a Hebraic perspective, and this book breaks it down by the Hebraic perspective. We can't go by, these teachings done by the nations on what faith is. Faith, as it talks about in the scriptures, is a special gift. It's just not given, wantonly. It's something that you have to ask the Most High for. As we stated time and time again, we were created to worship the Most High. And to do that, if you want to please him, you have to understand what faith is. So get this book. It's a monumental book. We have limited copies of it. We found a small cache of these books. So I don't know how many that we have left, but we still have copies left. Get this book on faith. You have to get this book on faith to understand what faith is. And to, that's at the very beginning. It's a major thing. It might be, it's at the beginning, that first step. You got to know how to please the Most High. This is what it's all about. It's not about, grandstanding and, flaunting what you know. It's about pleasing the Most High, Abba Yahweh. So in order to do that, you have to understand what faith is. You have to apply it. You have to begin this operation and this system of faith that this book talks about. So get your book of faith. It's very important. To the Israelites and to the nations, you need this book.
And so with that, we have one other thing to bring out is that you need to like, share, and subscribe if you like what's going on here at the House of Wisdom. If you're learning a lot, if you're growing here with the House of Wisdom, then like, share, and subscribe. And also we have this Super Chat. Super Chat is not so much for the House of Wisdom members, but those that are outside, you want to use the Super Chat, go ahead and use it. We encourage you to use it. This is what you intend on doing. So without further ado, let us go ahead and begin this Shabbat service class titled The 10 Horns, British and the Dutch. I think it's horn number 5 it has on there. Does it have that on there?
Con.
All right, so let's go ahead and start. Priest Rashim, go ahead and give me that again in Revelations 12:3, and then apprentice priest Hezekiah, you can give me Revelations 13. I'll start at the 3rd verse. So go ahead, Han Rashim, and bring that out when you get it.
Revelations chapter 12 and verse 3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
So we went over that earlier. What the 7 heads were, that was the 7 major rulerships, starting from Mesopotamia and ending with Rome. And then we have the 10 horns, which are the 10 proctorate states coming from out of Rome. And each one of these 10 horns were given power to serve with the beast 1 hour. So what's happening now, from the time of the first horn, even up until the time of the last, you have these 10 horns jockeying for a position of power to take over what Rome was doing. So when Rome fell, part of Rome fell, which we'll go over in a little while. Ultimately, when Rome came back into power, these proctorate states began jockeying for power. And as you can see, the theme and the narrative as we go through this, they've all had their turn in rulership and power. There's no more coming back. All of these guys that's ruled the British Empire, you are finished.
Mm-hmm.
You were finished a long time ago. You're not going or coming back into rulership, ruling and being the world dominant force. It's not in Scripture. This might be something that you're ready to do, but it's not recorded in Scriptures. You had your particular time, which we're going over today, and then you lost that time. All right, so go ahead and give me Revelations 13.
Start at 1 or 3.
Yeah, go ahead and start at 1.
And I stood upon the sand of the sea.
Now, this is John's rendition of it, but we know, based upon what we've seen here at the House of Wisdom, Daniel is speaking about the same exact thing. Although it's talking about a figure of a man and the different parts of the man and who was ruling in those different parts, the 7 heads and the 10 horns are the same exact vision, giving more details in this thing. So go ahead and read. Finish reading.
And saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
Right. The sea that it's talking about is the nations. Right. So the beast that rose up out of these nations ended up giving power to the 7 heads and then eventually the 10 horns, or Hasatan giving power to the beast. Go ahead.
And upon his horns 10 crowns.
Those are the 10 proctorate states that we're going over now. Go ahead.
And upon his heads the name of blasphemy.
Right. The lies that they've been telling since all of them been in rulership.
Mm-hmm.
Not one of them came into rulership and told the truth about what was really going on, what was going on in history, and who the real people of the Most High are. Lies. They lied about the Most High. They lied about his salvation. They lied about everything.
Con.
So go ahead and finish.
And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat and great authority.
Just like the dragon gave the power to all the other 10 horns, right? The beast came in, which is Hasatan, and or Hasatan came in and gave that beast that power for that particular amount of time. So go ahead and read that again.
Verse 2. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat, and great authority.
Go ahead. Dealing with the 7 heads and the 10 horns. Go ahead.
And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death.
So again, this is going into the part of when the Roman Empire was the northern, was it the Eastern Roman Empire and the Western? So which one was it? Was it the Western that fell? The Eastern rose up, or the Eastern that fell? I forget the difference between the two, but nonetheless, I believe it was the Western. Don't quote me. Yaradan brought that out perfectly well. So this is what it was talking about. It was wounded. They thought the Roman Empire was over, but ultimately, it was that deadly wound was healed. Go ahead.
And his deadly wound.
Call the verse.
Chapter Revelation 13, verse 3.
Go ahead.
And his deadly wound was healed.
It was healed.
And all the
Go ahead.
And all the world wondered after the beast.
Go ahead.
And they worshipped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast.
So the dragon, Hasatan, gave power unto the beast. These are the proctorate states or nations. Go ahead.
And they worshipped the beast.
And they worshipped the beast. And we'll go a little bit deeper into that as we move on, based upon all the captivity that was being placed upon the children of Israel. Ultimately, Israel ended up, as well as the other nations, worshiping this madness that was portrayed or pushed out by the beast. Go ahead.
Saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him?
Right. Go ahead.
And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies. And power was given unto him to continue 42 months.
And as we went over there, the blasphemies and the lies by these other nations, the power was given to him to continue 42 months, which is the second half of the 3,500 years. Of the full 7,000 years of Adam's punishment, the second half of that, they were given that power to rule. Go ahead.
Revelation 13:6. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against Abba Yahweh, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven.
Right, which was done and perpetrated by the beast, but also with conjunction of the Roman Catholic Church, which is going into part of that. They're the ones that's perpetuating the madness and the lies throughout these beasts. Go ahead.
Verse 10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints.
So now I know you might hear this breakdown that, the white man had us in captivity, so he got to go into captivity. He had us in slavery, so he must go into slavery. This is not what that's talking about, right? They all had us into captivity. Which nation didn't have us in captivity? We're going over to 10. We went over to 7. Which one didn't? Were they all the white man? So that's not what it's talking about. So what it's talking about is these evil spirits, right, that came down, put us into captivity. Now, guess what's going on with them? Even as we speak, we're sending up these oblations. We're having the angels bound them up, and then put them in Dudiel, which is a form of captivity. They're in prison up until the end of the 1,000 years, right? So as we're sending up these oblations and asking the Most High to bind them, they're being bound, but at the end of the 6,000 years, they will all be in captivity, imprisoned for 1,000 years, and then let loose for a little season, and then be ultimately destroyed. So as these evil spirits did these things unto us, they will also be done unto them. You just can't say the white man because they all had us in captivity. So if you want to say that, right, you can say that all the nations are going into captivity. But are they really? Are they really going into captivity? Especially if they come in to serve the Most High. What they're doing is coming under the servitude of the Most High, assisting the children of Israel in their oblations towards the Most High. Israel being the number one rulers on top, giving the oblations, and the other nations assisting, as in the other 11 tribes, dealing with Levi being the priest, which now Israel is the priest, and then you have the 11 tribes giving up the tithes, and now you have the other nations on a macrocosm giving up the tithes for the children of Israel. So everything that happened during the time of Egypt was a microcosm, and now we're going into the macro. So they led into captivity. These evil spirits are going into captivity. So let us go ahead and start with the fourth horn we're going into. I think it's the fourth horn that we're going into is the Britons. Then we'll go into the Dutch. So, Kahan Rashim, you can go ahead and start off with that caption here. from all of this, for the most part, and we'll just be kind of going through them when we're going through the Encyclopedia Britannica and also Wikipedia, among some other things here. So this here, I think this particular one is being pulled from the Encyclopedia Britannica. And go ahead and read the information that you got there.
Britain was a province of the Roman Empire.
Showing you that Britain was a part of Rome. All right, so if any of you didn't know that Britain was a part of Rome, they were a part of Rome. And Britain, as well as all the rest of them, were all jockeying for that power, 1 hour with the beast. Not exactly an hour, but that last hour, they're all jockeying for position to be the next Roman Empire. But, of course, they will not be. But they will all have their turn in rule. And if you haven't already seen it, you saw the Ottoman Empire at their peak. They were world dominant at the particular time. And then who came over and took over from them? It was the Portuguese. And who took over after the Portuguese? The Spanish. Now, who's taking over after the Spanish? We have the British and the Dutch, which we're going over now. But go ahead and read that again from the top.
Britain was a province of the Roman Empire for nearly 400 years. From a full invasion under Emperor Claudius in AD 43 until the legions withdrew in the 5th century. This occupation fundamentally transformed the island, introducing Roman law, the Latin language, Christianity, urbanization, and a sophisticated network of roads.
So this was done in Britain. Rome went and conquered, and Britain was established, and all of these things was done by the rulership of the Roman Empire. Go ahead.
Cultural shift. A distinct Romano-British culture emerged. Wealthy British elites adopted Roman customs, constructed luxurious Roman villas, and built cities that utilized advanced plumbing and architecture.
Right, trying to be like Rome, like all the other ones. Go ahead. Oh, the matter of fact, we got a map here. What's the name of that map? The Roman Empire, 117 AD. If you could put a picture of that so that the congregation and those that are out can actually see what the Roman Empire was, what it looked like, and their rulership.
Mm-hmm.
So everything that is in red is where they ruled. Outside of that, there was no rule of the Roman Empire. So we got this picture up here. Great picture to see. All the areas where Rome ruled, and right above there, that little island on top there, right in the far left-hand corner, Britannia, Britain. Rome ruled Britain. And you'll see as we move along, all the other 10 toes or the 10 horns that we're going in, they were also a proctorate of Rome. So go ahead and read on. You got something you want to add?
Yeah, I was just going to say, so it says 117 AD because this was at the peak of the Roman Empire. So this was the full extent of their dominion. So what you see here in the graph or in the picture, this illustration, is the biggest the Roman Empire ever got. But continue reading. Britain's rise to global supremacy began in the 18th century and culminated after the Battle of Waterloo in 1815. Historians generally pinpoint the conclusion of the 7 Years' War in 1763 as a tipping point where Britain surpassed France to secure unquestioned global naval and colonial dominance.
So France had their part in this play, but look what Britain did. Came up and rose up to be a superpower. And this is what they're all jockeying to become, that world superpower like their predecessor, Rome.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead and read. Continue to read.
The trajectory of this rise can be broken down into a few key milestones. 1, the late 16th to 17th century, England established its initial naval strength by defeating the Spanish Armada in 1588.
So you see, Spain had their power, which Kahan Yaradan went over last week. And then here comes the British, right? In true fashion, as the scriptures have brought out, these guys are jockeying for power. And guess who's giving them their power? We read it in scripture. So Hasatan is giving them that power, right, to rule before this is all over with. And I know a lot of you thinking that this thing is going to go a little further than that, and we got next, or China's going to be next, or the BRICS is coming up next. Knock it off.
Mm-hmm.
Knock it off. That's just BS that's going on, and it's not going along with Scripture. So push that out of your head. China don't got next. Russia don't got next. That's not recorded here. So continue to read.
Which laid the foundation for overseas colonization and the formation of the East India Company. Point 2, the 18th century.
Showing you that Britain had their hold in India. I mean, their rulership went from all the way as far as India, coming all the way as far here as the Americas. But let's go.
Following the Acts of Union in 1707, Great Britain gained a significant financial and diplomatic edge, ultimately stripping France of key territories in North America and India by 1763.
See that? So they had a grip on that power. Go ahead.
Third milestone, the 19th century. After defeating Napoleon in 1815, Britain entered an era of unrivaled hegemony.
See, look at that. After they defeated Napoleon, they were the world superpower, unmatched, unrivaled. Nobody had as much power and probably at the time as much finances as Britain did. Let's go.
It became the world's sole superpower for more than a century.
More than a century. That's over 100 years they were ruling unrivaled. Go ahead.
Bolstered by the Industrial Revolution and a booming colonial economy.
Yeah, it was very pivotal because remember, they were coming out of the agricultural industry where they was making their money off of the agriculture, and then all of a sudden, here comes the industrial age, right? And the industrial age came over and just thwarted the agricultural age, and Britain was a part of that in the beginning stages of it. So, you know, when that industrial age came in, there was a lot of money to be made by these folks. And mainly one particular group in general, but we'll go over that a little later. But they made a lot of money during these times. Go ahead.
When we move to the next section.
Go ahead.
So this is dealing with Africa and enslavement.
So British involvement in the enslavement of the people of the continent of Africa, mainly in West Africa, dealing with the children of Israel. We don't want you going off into anything else. These 10 toes, these 10 horns that we're talking about are specifically those that did wrong to the children of Israel, that put them in captivity and slavery. So you want to know why we're not bringing up the Mongols? Because they didn't have the children of Israel in captivity.
Mm-hmm.
There were other kingdoms and other empires that was ruling, but they didn't have the children of Israel in captivity or mistreating the children of Israel. We're dealing with these 10 horns or 10 toes because these particular ones had Israel in captivity. And if you don't know, you'll find out in a few seconds that the book of the Bible that you read, it's a history, an account of what happened to God's chosen people.
In Africa.
And with all the nations who were involved in Israel's punishment from the Most High, this is who we're talking about. So when you see the 10 horns, you see the 7 heads, these are all the nations who took part in oppressing the children of Israel. This is what this is. So this whole book is dealing with Israel, the hell that they would catch, who would put them in captivity, and then the ending of Israel, and then the ending of these other nations. It's all in there. So we're going over mainly these states or these power structures that had Israel in captivity. So go ahead and read. Finish reading.
Can I bring something out, please?
Go right ahead.
Add something. Yeah, so a lot of the viewers may already know about these ancient maps that historians have created back in the time period that we're covering. And so one of the maps, it says Negro land. And we'll get more into it. I don't want to take still the priest thunder. But when you look at these maps and it says Negro land, it's pointing to a specific people. It's not pointing to Hamites. Again, we're talking about these nations were given power by the beast to oppress a particular people.
Yeah.
And so when you look at the maps and it says Negro land, that's us.
Yeah.
And so when you look at these things, you know, kind of follow it with that, because you kind of can get lost in all this history. But if you pay attention to the salient points, this is pointing to us. And again, we didn't make these maps. These are, you know, Caucasian historians that build these maps, these ancient maps. And it's talking about a particular people.
Right. So you want to talk about Negro land, right? You got where was I going with that? I lost my train of thought. Go ahead. You had something else you want to bring up?
Yeah, and so I may bring it out later. I was going to pull up Zephaniah. Should I wait on that or just Zephaniah? 3 and 2?
You can hold on.
Hold on, that's okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So go ahead and finish reading.
All right. So you want to bring the article up?
Yeah.
Okay. So this article is done by Britannica. We found this on Britannica.com, dealing with the Atlantic slave trade. And so it says the transatlantic slave trade, segment of the global slave trade that transported between 10 million and 12 million enslaved Africans across the Atlantic Ocean to the Americas from the 16th to the 19th century.
We're gonna stop right there. We got to park right here for a minute. The reason why we park here, right, is think about the numbers that they're given, right? So in a few years, right, during World War II, you had 6 million Jews, so-called, were killed in a few years. Now we got a few hundred years of slavery, and you mean to tell me 12 million? Double what happened in a few years to them was only enslaved in Africa? This number is a lie. We talking about probably 80 to 100 million slaves, right? And these are the slaves that were actually counted that came off the ship. We're not talking about the slaves that died on the way here. You don't count that cargo, right? Because it wasn't sold. You might have put the cargo on the ship, but you didn't count it because it was tossed overseas. So you know this number is a lie like everything else. They overinflated theirs, and they underinflated what happened to us, as they do in all history when it's pertaining to us. So these numbers, lies. You better believe it. Nothing but lies. It was more than 12 million enslaved Africans. So this is what they tell you. So we got hundreds of years of slavery going on, and you mean to tell me that only 12 million were sold, opposed to about maybe 3 or 4 years of the Jews being supposedly mistreated by Hitler, and 6 million? The math is not mathing. And we got to know, and we should already know, all they do is lie. They lie like their father, Satan. He's the father of the lies, and they carry on their father's tradition. But go ahead and continue to read.
It was the second of 3 stages of the so-called triangular trade, in which arms, textiles, and wine were shipped from Europe to Africa, enslaved people from Africa to the Americas, and sugar and coffee from the Americas to Europe. Ivory, gold, and other trade resources attracted Europeans to Western Africa.
They saw the money there. They saw all this money to be made off of the backs of the children of Israel. The Jesuits had already gave the Britons, or the Catholics have already gave them, by way of the Roman Empire, the art of accusations, accusing. They all knew about it. Do you think that the Brits didn't get that information from their forefathers or their predecessors? Of course they did. They all understood the art of accusations or accusing the children of Israel. So this is why when slavery came about, they was able to do what they did, because hey, the scriptures say if they're not keeping the laws and commandments, we can put them in captivity with no repercussions. So the only people that they did this to was the children of Israel, because of what they understood in scriptures. If they're not keeping the commandments, it's all right if we go ahead and put them in captivity and treat them any old kind of way without any repercussions. They were wrong about it, but nonetheless, Israel got what said he was going to get, and they're going to get what they're going to get for mishandling the children of the Heavenly Father. But let's go ahead and read.
As demand for cheap labor to work on plantations in Americas grew, people enslaved in West Africa became the most valuable commodity for European
The
traders.
most valuable. The children of Israel. Go ahead.
Slavery existed in Africa before Europeans arrived. However, their demand for slave labor was so great that traders and their agents searched far inland, devastating the region. Powerful African leaders fueled the practice by exchanging enslaved people for goods such as alcohol, beads, and cloth. Britain became the world's leading slave trade country. Transatlantic slavery was especially lucrative. Something happened to the document here. I can't. Lucrative because the ships could sail with full holds on every stage of their voyage, making large profits from merchants in London, Bristol, and Liverpool.
All right. So you see here the Britain's hold on the world at that time and on slavery. They played a huge part in slavery. Ultimately, we know, for some of us, we learned in school the history of the Americas fighting against Britain. The British are coming. The British are coming. Yeah, they had a nice hold on the Americas, also in Africa at that particular time. So now we're going to go to a document from, it's called Shirley Eustace, Shirley Eustace House.org. We're getting the beginning of the British slave trade in AP. Hezekiah, you can go ahead and start reading that.
The British slave trade was born out of desire to outtrade and out-earn other European countries like Portugal and Spain.
We just read that, right? They were the second and third horns that was in power. But look what the British have done. Read that one more time from the top.
The British slave trade was born out of a desire to outtrade and out-earn other European countries like Portugal and Spain.
So they were jockeying for position of power to be great like the Roman Empire. Britain went in with the idea of being greater than Spain and Portugal, and they've accomplished that. So each one of them, you'll see, they were all jockeying in their time for the power with that 1 hour with the beast, and they've gotten that time. So go ahead and read on.
Like these other countries, Britain quickly became dependent on enslaved labor despite its claim that it was an enlightened, civilized nation.
Yeah, enlightened, right?
Mm-hmm.
Enlightened to what? Who the Negroes were, and that they can go ahead and take them and sell them without any repercussions. They're not keeping law, statutes, and commandments. So the Catholic Church is saying, go right ahead and enslave them. There'll be no harm done to you. And they went hard body. You know, Abba saw what was going on, and they think they got away with it, but they're not getting away with it. Ain't none of them getting away with it. But let's go ahead and read.
Can I add something, Priest?
Go right ahead.
So, we learned that, that race is a race-based relationship, right? And they talk about these nations were in a race to accumulate wealth. But they leave out this part about the Negroes, like the priest just brought out. This is the wealth, right? This is the wealth. They went specifically after Negroes. They didn't go after any other nationality, any other demographic but them. They'll try to say, well, these slaves, they're built to work in the heat. And they have melanin and this and that. No, free labor is free labor. If you want to get somebody to do your labor, you can get them to do that. But like you said, they were enlightened to the ways of Balaam and Balak, the dark arts.
Yeah.
That if they can get Israel to trespass, they can rule over us and they would have the wealth. Think about it, America, we're here. We leave this place, the country is going to fall apart.
Yeah, absolutely.
When we leave, this place is going to fall apart. And you see this in other places. I don't want to, you see it now with other nations that are dependent on some of the Hebrews, and it's like the country is falling apart because they're losing their grasp. So that's all I want to add.
But go ahead, AP, Hezekiah.
The horrors of the transatlantic slave trade beg to differ.
Right, the horrors of it beg to differ. So we know they tell lies. We know that. So while we coming into this and we're bringing out this information, or you find out certain information, they're going to glorify what they did and try to lessen the horrors that they committed against our people during those times. So it was horrible. It was horror. Go ahead.
So would those who suffered through them, and so would their ancestors, born into an unjust and cruel institution.
Yeah, and we're still in that institution. Unjust and cruel. We don't have to go through it. We've been through it already before. But go ahead. Go into the European competition.
Europe in the 1500s was fractured. Shifting alliances and war made the positions of kings and queens more and more fragile, and became necessary for royals to sponsor exploratory ventures that sought new wealth and land to conquer.
Right. So they were all, like I said before, they were jockeying for positions of power. Some succeeded and some did not. Go ahead.
Spain had been the first nation to lay claim on land in the New Order world.
Right. So here it's just talking about the new world, right? So this new world that they're talking about is their new world order. Don't let them fool you on anything else. They've been trying to establish this new world order since going back in ages. And we've been over this with the House of Wisdom more than a number of times. So this is their new world order that they're talking about. So this new world is that new world order. Go ahead.
But it was quickly followed by Portugal, England, and France. It was common practice from the outset of European exploration to enslave indigenous people, and African, Hebrew people of the book, had also been captured, enslaved, and brought to North America.
And we saw that in Yaradan's class that the Vatican or the Catholic Church had made a decree that the indigenous people of those lands, North American Indians, were not to be enslaved, but the so-called Africans, the Negroes coming from out of Negro town, western coast of Africa, this wasn't afforded to them.
Right.
So the indigenous people, and like I said, Yaradan, he went through it. It was amazing what he went through, and showed you these things that they lie. So the indigenous people, the North American Indians, did not suffer what the Negroes did. So I'm kind of confused with that, because if the indigenous people were of the tribe of Gad, why wasn't Gad suffering like Judah?
Right. Right.
You were supposed to. Now you can say the Trail of Tears and all this other stuff that you're putting out, but after all of this madness that went on, we're not set up by the government to be able to own casinos and get certain reparations and whatever the case may be. You guys are getting it. We're not getting it. And that's proof positive that you guys are not part of the 12 tribes. It's not a shot in the dark. It is not a throwing salt. It's the truth. You guys have the opportunity to come in and serve the Most High, B'Ashem Yahweh Shai, and be a part of the covenant and walk this walk along with us, but that doesn't make you the children of Israel whatsoever. So let's go ahead and read on.
However, that changed when Spain declared indigenous people to be citizens of the empire instead of enslaving them.
When was we considered citizens of the empire?
Right.
There's still rules that saying that the so-called Negro here is still 3/5 of a man.
Right.
And among other things that's going on with the Negroes here, but none of this. We didn't get this kind of treatment. Let's go. Let's read on.
Instead of enslaving them, the goal became conversations to Christianity and assimilations into Spanish culture. Africans were not included under this ruling.
That it was not. They were not included under this. But let's go ahead and read on.
Portugal was the first to begin trading in human lives and in Massey. In 1619, a Portuguese ship sailed to North America, was captured by English pirates, and taken into port of Jamestown.
So we had
Virginia.
the Portuguese that was stealing slaves, got captured by the English pirates, and they took those slaves and they sold them in the port of Jamestown, Virginia, going back into England, which is dealing with the Brits. They stole slaves to take those slaves and sell them on the market. So you want to talk about the pirates? They wasn't just robbing ships with gold and silver and precious stones. They were also robbing ships that had slaves on it, a.k.a. ships that had commodity, things that you can take and resell on the market and make money. So it's telling you that the English, which was a part of the Britons, the pirates, they were also pilfering and looting from the Portuguese, which was another world power at one time. But they was losing their grip about this time. For these things to actually take place and happen to them, they were losing their grip on their power. So let's go to this. What is it? Let's see. Timer Yenis and Substack, dealing with the Jewish involvement in transporting the Hebrew slaves. So we're going to have Rashim go ahead and take over this particular article and read what's in this article.
Jews in the Atlantic slave trade. So here we're going to start in North America in the state of Rhode Island. Rhode Island was undoubtedly the center of the transatlantic slave trade, having more slaves per capita than any other New England state. Newport's Jewish community goes back to 1658.
Newport's Jewish community goes back to 1658. Pay attention. Go ahead.
With another influx arriving in 1694.
They were just coming in by the boatloads. These so-called Jews, the Jewish community. Go ahead.
Aboard a ship with a number of Jewish families of wealth and respectability on board, who settled there presumably from the Jewish fortress of Curacao. Two Jewish individuals, Aaron Lopez and his partner Jacob Rodriguez Rivera.
Think about that. They Jewish with Spanish names. It goes to show you that they're hiding.
Yes.
They stay hiding. They may have a last name as Jones, and they're Jewish, and you have no idea because they're hiding. They know who they are, but they changed their name to keep you confused about who they are and what's going on and all the atrocities that are taking place. So ultimately, you won't pin that crime, as I could say, upon them, but we have the evidence right here. And this is coming from their own people. This information is coming from their own historical documentation of what they did in the past. So now we're talking about, what is this, Rhode Island, that had a community of Jewish people that was there back in the 1600s. So let's go ahead and finish that.
Two Jewish individuals, Aaron Lopez and his partner Jacob Rodriguez Rivera, owned the most successful slaving business in the state.
In the state. Jewish people. They said they had nothing to do with the slavery. Stop lying. Why are you lying? And you got your
Right.
own information right here, documented in a place that you can go that is set aside for not only just your people, but for ours as well. That's saying that you guys were a part of it. And not just in this small level, on a great level.
Yes.
You try to lessen what you've done, but the evidence is here. And we know you lie. Hell, our forefathers used to call you Kuthians. Liars. Kuthi.
Yeah.
What's another word they use for them? Kuthi and what else? Kuthians, I
Kuthians,
guess it was.
yeah.
Yeah, Kuthi and Kuthians. Liars. Liars.
AKA Cuddy.
Cuddy. There you go. AKA Cuddy. But let's go ahead and read on. There's more.
They were of Sephardic origin.
There you go. That's Sephardic. They got many different kind of Jews here, man. There's Sephardic. They got Victorian. They got, you just name it. They're all in one same boat. You're the Jews. Sephardic or not, you're the Jews. And you participated in the horrors of slavery when you try to say that you did not. Your hand was in it. Abba knows, and now we know. Go ahead.
All 22 Newport distilleries that served the Triangle slave trade were Jewish owned.
See, the distilleries. So you want to talk about, listen, right? When they was selling slaves and stealing slaves and making money from agriculture, we was in slave ships.
Mm-hmm.
We was in slavery. While they were making billions of dollars, we were making nothing. So they had the money to be able to come over here and create these distilleries. If you like drinking Mad Dog 2020, these are the guys that was responsible.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about the musket guns and wine that was given to the African tribes that was over there? Not Judah, not Israel, but this is what they was giving. They was probably giving them barrels of MD 2020.
Right.
The bottom of the barrel, the trash, the garbage, and keeping the best for themselves. But they own those distilleries here in America. Go ahead.
Even the synagogue in Newport, Rhode Island was built by African slaves.
See that? Even the synagogues was built by our people. Go ahead.
Nearly all Jews in Newport had Negro domestic slaves.
Read that again.
Nearly all Jews in
Nearly
Newport.
all Jews in Newport. Nearly all Jews. Stop playing. It's here. You had Negroes as domestic slaves. The evidence is here. We got the receipts. What are you going to do about that? Just own up to it. And we know you're not going to do that, but that's fine because there's something coming for you, something really special. I ain't going to tell you what it is because you probably already know, but it's coming. So let's read on.
The 1774 census shows only 2 Newport Jewish families without slaves.
And they lied too.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all got slaves?
Yeah.
No, we don't got no slaves.
Yeah.
They had like 30 in the basement.
Yeah. Right.
They came for the census, put them niggas downstairs.
In the basement, yeah.
No, we don't have anything. So you know they lied. All but 2. You got a whole town of Jewish people. They all had slaves except 2. Liars.
Yeah.
Liars. I'm sure you did. It was probably overseas. It wasn't probably in Newport, but it was probably overseas. So you had slaves too. Let's go on to New York.
Jewish merchants in New York largely traded agricultural products for rum, slaves, and manufactured goods. They engaged in trade with fellow Jews in Barbados, Curacao, St. Thomas, Suriname, and Jamaica.
Stop right there. You see what it is? Fellow Jews, right? Jewish merchants got a hold of their fellow Jewish partners in New York. They support each other. They help each other. They hook each other with, we got this slave trade that's going on. You should get involved. There's nothing but money involved. You need some money to help support it? We'll give you the money. This is what they do for each other. And look what we do for each other. We do the opposite. We don't want to support each other. We don't want to do any of that. But, it's all fine and dandy because I understand because of the curses, you're not able to do those things. Look at what happened in Black Wall Street.
Right. Burned it down.
That was your economic base. You're talking about, black folks need to come and build the economic base. That was your economic base. What happened to it? That was on more than one occasion. More than one occasion that you built up something that was financially stable for you and yours, the so-called Africans that came here in slavery, and they destroyed it. Then you had your militant leaders come up. What happened to them? You've tried everything in the book, and you still saying we have to do these things in order for us, to thrive and to be prosperous in this society. And the one thing that you haven't said or brought out was to come back to the Most High.
That's right.
Come back under covenant under the Most High, and these things will be afforded to you. If not, I don't care what economic base you build. I don't care what kind of militant leader you get. I don't care what kind of intelligent scientist or whatever you get that's good in economics, that's good in politics or whatever the case may be. You will not come out of this situation. You are under curses.
That's
It's
right.
not going to happen. And we're going to hit that later on. But let's read on.
Just like Jay-Z says, still nigga.
Yeah.
That's how they look at you. Notably, Jewish communities had already been established in these ports, giving Jewish businessmen in New York a significant advantage in the West Indian trade over their competitors.
Look at that. Even the West Indians, the Jews had part in that. It's telling the story right here.
Yeah.
Let's read between the lines. Read that again.
Let's see. Notably, Jewish communities had already been established in these ports, giving Jewish businessmen in New York a significant advantage in the West Indian trade over their competitors.
Right, a significant advantage. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I don't know, I forget the brother's name, but he said, wealth is frozen in these Caucasian and Jewish groups. They're here from the beginning. We're not going to surpass them.
Right.
You're not going to surpass them. The Diamond District and the things that they've built and, the networks that they've established will never overcome that. They're going to give a few some crumbs, but communally, as a group of people, we're not going to rise above them if we don't turn back to Abba Yahweh.
Right. The Most High said that the saints shall take the kingdom. So they're not giving you anything. You're going to have to take it. But you're gonna have to take it by being led by the Heavenly Father and the holy angels. Outside of that, you're finished.
It's a wrap.
I don't care if you a black nationalist group that got the most ill and insane military group in the United States. You will not win.
Right.
You're not gonna win. It is not in the books for you to win. The books don't say that you're gonna rise up and conquer these people without the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
You are not going to be able to do it without the Most High. If you don't come back under covenant with the Most High, you will lose. It'll be over for you. I don't care how much power you got, how much you know about, surviving in the wilderness, and, you can eat things that'll make a billy goat puke. It don't matter. That's what Rambo said. Who cares? You're not going to make it.
Yeah, God.
Because it's not written in the book.
That's right.
For you to do these things and accomplish your goals. Not going to happen. Let's go ahead.
And our people got to understand we belong to Abba Yahweh.
Yeah.
That's the key. We belong to him. Jewish historian Peter Warnick directly asserted that this trade was principally in the hands of the Jews. Stanley Feldstein describes something similar.
Look at that. Principally. In the hands of the Jews. They lying too?
Right.
Them tiny hats, they lying?
Nah.
They lying too, right? This is in your documents. This is the evidence that you had that we received from you. So you lying? We know you lie, but you're not going to lie like this.
No.
You want to lighten up everything that you've done. You're not going to tell the horrors that you've done to our people. You don't want to deal with that. But let's go ahead and read.
Stanley Feldstein describes something similar. America's Jewish merchants, using their religio-commercial connections, enjoyed a competitive advantage over many non-Jews engaged in the same lucrative intercolonial trade.
So we got the religio-commercial connections. They were so connected with each other that anytime there was something going on, it's almost like this, right? If I have any business deals or anything that's going on, hey, Khan Rasheen, you want to do this?
That's right, yeah.
What about you?
You want to make some money?
Yeah. Let's go. Let's see if the congregation members want to. What about those on the outside? Nah, we ain't dealing with that right now. We're just dealing with our people right now.
In-house.
This is what they did in-house. The religio-commercial connections enjoyed a competitive advantage over many non-Jews engaged in the same lucrative intercolonial trade. So what is that saying? You Jews controlled the market. You had that thing locked down where nobody can get anything to eat unless you allowed it. So stop. Stop with the games. We know now. Go ahead and finish reading.
Since the West Indian trade was a necessity to America's economy.
West Indian trade, a necessity to the American economy. Whose economy? The Jews. Let's tell it like it is. It was their economy because they monopolized everything. Go ahead.
And since this trade was, in varying degrees, controlled by Jewish mercantile houses, American Jewry was influential in the commercial destiny of Britain's overseas empire.
Right. So we got the Jewish mercantiles. They owned everything. The Diamond District, you name it. They owned everything. And now when you look at it, right, you may not think so, but in Britain, there was this elite group that was called the Victorian Jews. Think about it. And all of these different Jews, and they're in every different nation running things and controlling things. Now, these particular Jews, they came up from the bottom. They brought them in. They brought them in to give them whatever they was, like how they do here. They come in there, they just give them everything. They get on their feet, they become multimillionaires. So they came in, they got on their feet, they got in positions of prominence and wealth, and then they was able to go in and influence other things like slave trades and everything else. So these particular groups that was in Britain were called the Victorian Jews. All these different names, they're the Jews. And they all work together. They all operate together. So let's read on.
In 1717 and 1721, two ships, the Crown and the New York Postilion, which were owned by Jewish businessmen.
Who are they owned by?
Jewish businessmen.
It's coming out. Go ahead.
Nathan Simpson arrived at the northern harbor with a total of 217 slaves. These shipments arrived directly from the African shore and were marked as two of the largest slave cargoes that we brought into New York in the first half of the 18th century.
Stop right there. You mean to tell me that's all you was able to fit on the slave ships, 217?
Yeah, that's a lie.
Stop.
Yeah.
They underinflate what happens to us.
Mm-hmm.
They overinflate what happened to them. We were the largest and the biggest Holocaust the world history has ever seen or will ever know. But they want to make light of it. So you're not going to make light of it while the priests of the Most High are here. The truth is going to come out. And if the rest of you don't want to accept it, there's nothing I can do for you. It don't matter if you don't believe. That moon still has an effect on you when it's full at night. It still have an effect on you whether you believe it does or not. So let's move on.
On several occasions, Jewish merchants in New York were found guilty of selling mentally impaired and unhealthy slaves that they had falsely claimed to be fit and healthy.
Yeah, and they probably was healthy, but the atrocities and the horrors that they committed against them while they were on the ship, they weren't mentally stable when they came off the ship. A lot of them probably ended up sick, as they said, and in true fashion, they don't care if it's created in a laboratory, the meat, or if the meat is bad, they're gonna sell it to you.
Right.
The slaves, they were sick, they were weak, they were inferior, they still sold them.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the people that we're dealing with. This is who we're dealing with.
Right.
Think about it, right? Well, most of you don't read the book of Jasher, so I'm not talking to you, right? Because you don't want to read anything else but the 66. For those who know, we saw in that the book of Jasher, how these folks, they went around, well, Esau in general, how when they were given the inheritance, Jacob was given the land, Esau was given the monetary funds. Esau was so upset with Jacob, he did not want Jacob or his children to have nothing. They didn't want them to have land. They didn't want them to have the wealth. Even though their father gave the inheritance, Esau was like, I don't want them to have nothing. I want the land too. And they moved the same way. Think about how these people move.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want you to have nothing at all. They don't want you to have land. They don't want you to have houses. They don't want you to have businesses. They don't want you to have anything. There's always some clause or something in their laws that benefits them and hurts you. Oh, I got 30,000 acres of land. And then next year you can't pay the taxes on it. And then the Jews are saying, we just acquired 30,000 acres of land.
Mm-hmm.
From who? The Negroes that couldn't afford to pay the taxes. So we spend thousands, hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars on land, and then because we can't pay $100,000, well, not $100,000, $1,000 or $2,000 or $5,000 for taxes, you taking everything back from us? Wicked. Mm-hmm. They don't want you to have anything. They don't want you to have anything. Don't be fooled. If they like you, then beware. Because all they're going to do now is use you and give you little trinkets and gifts that means nothing to keep you steady right there. They don't want you to be their enemies. They want you to continue to be their slaves and servants. But I say that time is just about up. So let's finish reading.
In 1741, slaves owned by the Gomez family, often described as the heads of the Jewish community, were implicated in a suspected riot and insurrection. Samson Simpson, recognized as one of the leading figures in the New York Chamber of Commerce and a key contributor to its constitution, was the most prominent Jewish trader in New York between 1757 and 1773.
Rich. They had it. And they was only sharing the wealth with each other. Go ahead.
He owned several ships involved in trade with both the East and West Indies. Did you want to bring up this caption?
Yeah, so we have this, what is this? The Major Cotton Dealers Penguins, _penguins. If you could bring that picture up. And Rashim, if you can go ahead and explain that and break it down for me, Baba Kushah.
Khan, pull it back up here. So here, as the caption says, these are the major Jewish cotton dealers. And if you look on the left margin of the screen, these are all Jewish companies.
All.
Right? And so they have an area of focus. If you look on the right side, it says area of focus, and it's showing you the states that these dealers were dealing in.
Look like Texas, Oklahoma, what's that, Arkansas, and
Arkansas,
Louisiana?
And Louisiana.
Oh, Mississippi and Tennessee, too.
Yeah, all in there. Now, take a look at these lines, right? Now, we're talking about, this is back in, the 1700s. Look at this one here from Adolph Meyer. This is back in the early or mid 1700s, and it says he acquired 30,000 acres of cotton fields.
Yeah, you see where I got that 30,000 from.
30,000. Now, cotton was gold back then.
Yeah.
Cotton, sugar cane, tobacco, 30,000
acres.
And it wasn't going to be none of them that was going to be on that land working at, right? This was Negroes that would be working it. But you see here, they're buying huge swaths of land to do a particular thing.
Yeah.
And we know what that thing was. So, just take a look. These are the major dealers, all Jewish.
Right. And let's take a look at the next one down here, which is the names, the ships, the owners, and the ethnicity of these ship owners.
So here, once you get up, if you just look at the very first line, the name of the ship was Abigail.
If you could put the diagram up of the slave, is that the slow? You got the slave ship diagram here. Is that the same thing? With the list. Oh, there it is right there. They got it up.
They got it up. Okay. Yeah, so the first one, it says Abigail. And like Gabaria said, they're trying to play misdirection, technology. Aaron Lopez, come on now.
Yeah.
It says ethny. So this is an actual manifest of them trading the slaves or providing the ships to trade the slaves. So you have Aaron Lopez, who was an owner, and it says his ethnicity is a Jew. Now, when you look at Moses Levi, that sounds like a Jewish name.
Yeah.
Jacob Franks, that sounds like a Jewish name. But Aaron Lopez?
No.
Yeah, that's misdirection. You know, that name, that Lopez, was completely something different. So here, all these ships, they might say, well, we were just selling them the ships to, trade textiles or whatever. No, these ships were sold to transport, to human traffic, slaves.
Right. And our people in general, the children of Israel in particular. It tells you right here who the owners were, and all of their ethnicity were Jews. Is that a coincidence? No, not a coincidence. These are the facts that are coming out. So if you can give me where it says article continues, AP, Hezekiah, start reading from there.
This was the first group of enslaved Africans sold in North America as part of the transatlantic slave trade, while Portuguese sailors trapped and transported the slaves that were sold in a British colony under British law.
So when we talking about while Portuguese sailors trapped, it was the Africans, the natural Africans, that trapped us and sold us to the Portuguese.
Hamites.
You know, so all of this stuff, all of them is trying to lessen what they did to us because they know, to be honest, if you really brought them before a world court and they was to be prosecuted, all of these nations would be found guilty.
Mm-hmm.
And most of that punishment is punishment or punishable by death. Everybody wants to lighten what they did to, we only had 6 slaves. No, we didn't have any. Out of all the Jews here, we were the only 2 that didn't have any. So they're trying to lighten what they've done. Mm-hmm. You are all a part of that. Psalms, the 83rd chapter, speaks about all of you that would be in confederate together to make sure that the name of Israel would be stomped out and remembered no more. You are all a part of this. And I would say to those nations that were a part of it, the only way that you can escape the punishment that's coming forth for what was done to our people is that you have to be in covenant with the Most High and you got to keep his commandments. Other than that, you're going to be destroyed. You're going to be finished. What is an example of that? Anybody knows a good example of that? Real quick, anybody in the audience? Nobody?
What was the question, priest?
An example of the nations coming under Israel to be delivered.
Oh, okay, I got you, yeah.
So there was a particular incident that happened in the city of Jericho. What happened in Jericho? Who was the woman that saved the 2 spies? Who? Yeah.
That was her occupation.
So she said it.
What's her name?
Yeah. Rahab.
Yeah.
The harlot.
Yeah.
Rahab was an example on how you nations and Ruth should move. Ruth was told to go back to her family. Listen, I'm too old to have another son. And will you wait for my son to be marriageable age in order for me to give my son to you? Number 1, I'm too old to be having children. Number 2, you're not going to wait that long. So she said, Naomi said, go back to your people, Ruth. And Ruth said, listen, ain't no way. Your people will be my people. Your God will be my God. And the things that you do and the things that you practice, I will do. She cut off her people and what they were doing to take hold of what Naomi and the children of Israel was doing. Same with Rahab. Rahab, I don't even know how you would even say that, but I think she did the smart thing. She said, listen, whatever you do, I know the Most High is with you. Whatever you do, just don't kill me. And we said, listen, if you want to be delivered, you and your family members that you tell need to be in this house right here. Mm-hmm. Meaning that they also are in covenant with you, with us. Because if they're not in this house, when we come, they're dead.
Yeah.
So the other nations, if you're not in this house, if you're not in covenant with the Most High, you're essentially a goner. There's no deliverance for you. This is the only way out, and this is the only way out for the children of Israel. If you don't come back under covenant with the Most High and acknowledge your offense, you are finished. Mm-hmm. So this is not anything dealing with anything bias, prejudice. It has to do with all of those that are willing to come back in covenant under the Most High in order will be delivered. So Israel, you don't get it together, you are going to be in the same position as these other nations who don't get it together. So let's read on.
By this time, almost all of Europe was either an active participant or complicit in the slave trade.
Look at that. All of Europe or is dealing with those 10 proctorate states that was involved in slavery of Israel. Go ahead.
Art, music, and literature from the time reflect this.
Mm-hmm.
Continue on.
Quest for the empire. For Great Britain, participating in the trade of enslaved Africans was a stepping stone on the path to the empire. By the 1660s, Britain discovered just how profitable North American plantation farming and the resultant trade in humans could be. And the institution became incredibly popular among wealthy families.
So which wealthy family at that time didn't have slave or their hands in it? They had their hands in it.
That's right.
Especially when it comes to the Jewish and these particular rulers and these 10 horns, which we're going over. Right now, we're on number 4 and number 5, Britain and then the Dutch. But go ahead.
The British slave trade grew from there, and by 1698, European trade in Africa was open to all 10 countries.
Right. Well, the 10 here is something that we put in there, but it was saying it's open to all countries, right? But it was dealing with those 10, because those 10 were the ones that had us in captivity. When you do the research and the history on it, you'll see that. But you have to be willing to put in the work. Let's read.
The Royal African Company, as it became known, got its start. The group aimed to monopolize the use of various ports throughout Africa so that only English ships could come in and out.
See that? That's the British monopolizing the slave trade at that particular time. Go ahead.
There were very few African accounts of the voyage to North America. All of them agree that it was inhumanely crowded, far too hot, and sickness abound below the decks. Aluda Equino, a former enslaved man who eventually wrote a memoir of his journey, described it vividly. The closeness of the place and the heat of the climate added to the number in the ship, which was so crowded that each had scarcely room to turn himself.
Right. If you could pull up that picture of the slave ship diagram with the slaves in the on the slave ship and how they were organized on there, this is what this particular individual, Olaudua, was given as an account of. So go ahead and finish reading that.
Almost suffocated us. Equino goes on to describe the way many captives would throw themselves into the ocean because they would rather die than live in such misery.
So the conditions that were on that ship was horrible. And on top of that, I know, let's put it that way, that our forefathers knew what was coming for them. They knew nothing was good coming for them once they got off this ship. So a lot of them was like, listen here, they getting ready to put us in slavery. And I'm sure the word went out that they was gathering up the family of Israel to bring them in captivity. So they knew they was going in captivity. So they was like, I'd rather see death than to deal with this madness of our enemies.
Hey, Priest, can I add something?
Go right ahead.
So I didn't recognize this in the article, but Aluda Equiano is actually an Israelite. He was a Hebrew. And if you read his memoir, he talks about that when there's the portion in the book that talks about when the missionaries came or the people came to Africa talking about, the God that they serve. And he was like, you talking about the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And they saw the customs, the Torah that they were holding. And he mentioned this in his book. Now, when you read the article, you think he's just an African. But this is actually a Hebrew. And if you get his memoir book, you can see that he mentions it in his book. But I just want to add that.
Yeah, how do you pronounce his name? Aluda. Even the spelling looks Hebrew.
Yeah.
That almost, like when you see that, the first thing I think about when I see that is Judah.
Right.
The DHA at the end of it. But nonetheless, AP, go ahead and continue to read. AP Hezekiah.
While some in Britain protested these vile conditions, the profitability of the slave trade drowned out all objections.
Yeah, and I doubt it, if they really, complained about the conditions that was going on, the vile conditions. And if they did, there was very, 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 very few of them. It's almost like saying that, the abolitionists didn't exist during slavery. They were there. There were some white folks that was feeling kind of bad about what happened, and they actually helped out. There's evidence of that too, but for the most part, the majority of them, no.
Money was too good. It was flowing.
Yeah. But go ahead.
Slave ships grew larger and more densely packed as the trade continued.
Now look at this diagram here. If you didn't already see the diagram, look how packed that is. densely packed. And they didn't care about the welfare of those men and women and children that was there. It was all about the money. Let's get this money. And just like with anything else, right? When you have produce, you know that I have this amount of money that's going out, but then we can account for 20% being destroyed along the travel and the route. So this will be our projected earnings for this particular ship. So same case. Go ahead.
Only the Portuguese had legal requirements on their ships for space and airflow.
So let's go to where it says here, back to the British Empire. As a matter of fact, go ahead and finish that out, AP, and then we'll get Rashim to come in next.
Back to the British Empire.
Khan.
While the slave trade involved many European nations,
Not many. There's only 10. They keep saying many, but we're bringing it out. And it was the 10. They had us in slavery, in captivity. Go ahead.
each one was seeking to dominate transatlantic trade at the same time.
See that? All jockeying for power. For that power with the beast for 1 hour. They're all jockeying, and they all got their turn. They all had to fight against each other. That's why it speaks about it was part iron and part clay, because they weren't together. They was fighting against each other to gain that power. And because they weren't together as one, they eventually one came up and the other one overthrew. Another one came up, the other one overthrew. And then these that were overthrown financially became so weak that they could not rise up again. So they were all jockeying against each other. They weren't together as the Roman Empire was, just one strong unit. These were part iron and part clay. The weakness that was there was that the fact that they wasn't able to come together. Go ahead.
There was tension between the desire to build one's navy and amass wealth.
Yeah, they were all jockeying for that money, that power.
And maintain good trade relations with other countries as well. Colonies sprung up left and right in North America and the Caribbean, trying to serve as a foothold on this new land with new resources. This growth came at the cost of unimaginable numbers of human lives.
Yeah, how many they killed. So they ain't telling the human lives that were killed. And if they did, they lied about it. Don't believe nothing that they tell you. If they tell you a certain number, just times that by 5. Because you know they lying. What they did was the most horriblest act that can be committed in this earth, and they're trying to hide from that. Go ahead.
By the 1740s, when William Shirley was royal governor of Massachusetts, roughly 55,000 Africans were captured and forced into slavery every year.
Yeah, it's probably more than that. A lot more than that. Go ahead.
Between 5,000 and 10,000 of those people are recorded to have died while enduring the Middle Passage each year.
And you know the number was what? The number was higher than that was. So don't believe nothing they tell you. Go ahead.
But this number was likely extremely low.
But this number was likely extremely low. Go ahead.
The records of slave ship voyages are often incomplete, and we know that in at least a few cases, such as the Dutch ship Zong, white captains killed their human cargo to collect insurance payments.
Look at that. Is that what they're doing today? Guys that go ahead and burn their cars up. They can't make the payments anymore. So they'll go and have somebody steal it and burn it up and collect the insurance on it. And the same with the bankers. You know, they got these houses and these cars. The money is already insured. So when you default on the loan, they get paid from the insurance company and they get paid out while you lose that car. Again, you have nothing while they have everything. Double, triple, quadruple. They have everything. But go ahead.
This says nothing of the cost to Native American societies, which were devastated by war and European diseases introduced upon settlement. Some indigenous tribes lost as many as 90% of their populations.
So yes, they were suffering, and yes, they did these things to them, but they were not sold into slavery, and they did not get there by way of ships. So therefore, they're not linked to this prophecy of Israel going into Egypt by way of ships. They're just not the people. You can make them the people all you want, but they're not the people. And you're going to find out later. But go ahead.
Britain.
As a matter of fact, we're going to let Kahan Rashim come in. And Britain's African colonies. Like Britain, when they was in power, they had African colonies that they also colonized. And we're going to go ahead and read, just read the highlighted areas. And so we can get through this. So go ahead.
British imperial interests in Africa predate the Berlin Conference of 1884 to 1885, which is usually considered the defining event in the scramble and partition of Africa.
Everybody was going to grab a piece of Africa. All the pretty much those nations, the 10 horns, was grabbing. It's like a grab bag. Just get what I can get. Go ahead.
Like they trying to do now.
Yeah.
By 1871, Britain had established crown colonies in Gambia, Sierra Leone, Lagos, and the Cape, and NATO provinces in South Africa.
So Britain had their foot all over the place. Mm-hmm. Go ahead. From India to Africa, over here in the Americas and in the islands, the Caribbean islands. They got their big old footprint there. Go ahead.
England built Fort James at the current site of Banjul on the Gambia River in 1618.
So England built what? Fort James. Does that ring a bell to anybody? James? Who do we know last name is James? Maybe King James? So for all of those who are saying that King James was a black man, well, this was a black man that was heavily involved in the slave trade.
Right.
Yeah, he just wasn't a good black man. So if you want to continue to believe that, then go right ahead. Have at it. But go ahead.
Sierra Leone became a colony in 1801, and Britain brought the Cape and NATO provinces under its control in the early 19th century. These territorial acquisitions that occurred before the dawn of new imperialism provided the British with a foundation they built on during the second half of the 19th century. Besides Gambia and Sierra Leone, the other British colonies in Western Africa included the Gold Coast, Ghana, and Nigeria.
So now, just real quick, I was thinking about moving to Africa, right? And I was looking at Ghana, and then I saw something, right, that kind of threw me for a loop, and then I backed up out of that altogether. So you got the president, what's his name, Nana something, the president of Ghana. Well, you had the British prime minister or the British ruler, wasn't it Prince Henry or whoever he is, came to visit him. I was like, man, he came to visit him? Then I found out they went to school together. Right? So it's showing you that Britain has a foothold in Ghana. And I saw also that, and I don't know how true this is or not. I just got to bring it out because I thought it was interesting. The woman that was bringing it out was saying that these two guys were buddies in college, but also that the leader of Ghana, and I'm not saying it's true, I don't know. She just could have been throwing it out there for clickbait. But she was saying that he was from the family of Esau. This dark-skinned man from the family of Esau. And he says, all of us know that. I said, well, I don't know that. I wonder how true that is. But do your research to find out, neither here or there. I just thought that was interesting. And I said, we're not doing that. But nonetheless, go ahead and read on. Ghana, Nigeria. Go ahead.
Yeah, they're just too cozy with their oppressors.
Yeah.
It's like too cozy. The Western African coast was part of the elaborate network of transatlantic slave trade and hence was not immune from the commercial interests of various European nations.
Yeah, so you got hit too. Go ahead. The next highlighted.
However, it was not until 1901 that the British conquered the Ashanti or Asante tribe.
Right. And what is that? Asante or Ashanti? That's Hebrew. Coming from the word Ashan, which means smoke. Get an African out of that. There's Hebrew. Showing you right there. The evidence is there and it's clear. But go ahead.
This followed a series of wars between the British and the Ashanti in which the latter lost.
Right. So ultimately, the Ashanti, they lost. And it was necessary for them to lose because it's going into part of the prophecies. You see that? So let's move on.
This was a significant step in bringing the coast and the hinterland regions under British colonial rule. In the context of Nigeria, the British declared Lagos its proctorate in 1851. In Eastern Africa, the Imperial British East Africa Company was instrumental in establishing Kenya and Uganda.
Going all the way to the east, Kenya and Uganda got that British footprint on them, colonized by the British. Go ahead.
As British spheres of influence before the two countries were formally brought under the direct control of the British government, Uganda in 1894 and the British East Africa Proctorate, Kenya, in 1895. In Eastern Africa, some communities, including the Girama, Kikiu, and Nandi in Kenya, were fiercely contested the imposition of British imperial control, while in Uganda, the British sent military expeditions against the Bunyoro. The British colonization of the Americas is the history of establishment of control, settlement, and colonization of the continents of the Americas by England, Scotland, and after 1707, Great Britain. Colonization efforts began in the late 16th century with failed attempts by England to establish permanent colonies in the North. The first permanent English colony in the Americas was established in Jamestown, Virginia in 1607.
Which we read early on, which was another town where there was a heavy population of Jewish people that was running things over there and had slaves as well. But go ahead.
In 1607, colonies were established in North America, Central America, South America, and the Caribbean.
That's the foothold that Britain had on these places. Go ahead.
Britain's American imperialism spanned from the 1607 founding of Jamestown and the establishment of the 13 colonies to the post-1783 era of informal empire, where Britain maintained deep economic and military dominance. This history traces traditional territorial colonialism, the American Revolution, and a transition into a modern transatlantic alliance.
Go ahead and finish that out, and then we'll go to the rise and the fall of the Dutch superpower.
The colonial era. Beginning in the late 16th century, England sought to establish a profitable economic foothold in the Americas to rival Spain and France.
And they did. Go ahead.
The British colonization of the Americas included founding Virginia in 1607 and expanding across the eastern seaboard. Early imperialism focused on resource extraction, such as tobacco and mercantilist trade policies.
Right, and we already saw the mercantiles that owned those businesses was that Lopez guy. What I'm trying to get at is this was run by the Jewish community, all Jews. So let's finish this out so we can go into the Dutch and close this class out. Go ahead.
Local and institutional complicity. Despite formal papal condemnations, the reality on the ground was contradictory.
So they saying that the Pope, right, was against the slavery, was against the movement, was against any harsh treatment. You lie. You lie. Yara Dunn just did his class last week, and so they had their hand all up in it.
Yes.
And now you trying to say what? Read that one more time and then go ahead and then show the lies.
Despite formal papal condemnations, the reality on the ground was contradictory.
So they saying that despite their condemnation, the reality on the ground, when they went to go see what was going on, the Catholics had their hand all into this mess. You're doing all that talking, but when we go on the ground and see the boots on the ground, we see what's going on. We see what you're doing to the Negroes. So it was contradictory. But let's read on.
Which is so crazy because, like Khan Yardan brought out, it was a papal edict that said put them in slavery.
Exactly.
Send them to
Gave them the permission.
What is it? Cape Verde.
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah. And so crazy. Historically, various Catholic religious orders, such as the Jesuits, owned and operated plantations.
See that? Various Catholic religions ordered, such as the Jesuits.
Owned.
The Jesuits, look it up if you don't know who it is. Owned and operated plantations, including thousands of enslaved people of the Americas. Stop. Just cut it out. The lies, like, we should be tired of it to the point where, you know, something should be done by the common man and the common people. Do something about it. Listen, you guys are not coming in the covenant, right? Some of you think we're crazy. That's fine. You guys need to stand up and do something about that, right? For those of us that are in the covenant, something is already being done. So we don't care what you do or not do. Something is already being done. We've already petitioned the Most High. We've already petitioned Abba. What they've done to us, we don't have to do anything else. But for those of you who won't come under the covenant, who think we crazy, who think we're teaching hate, you need to stand up and do something. Y'all go and do. Go march. Go tear up something. Go burn down something to do something, right? Because the only thing that's going to happen to you is destruction. There's only one way to handle this man, and that's spiritually, by way of the Heavenly Father. There's no other way you can defeat these spirits that are going on out here. Is only by way of coming in this seventh covenant. So let's read on.
Including thousands of enslaved people in the Americas. Furthermore, many individual Catholics, priests, and colonial bishops actively participated in or justified the slave trade.
Here's the truth. Here's the truth. So when somebody tries to say, oh, well, no, that's a lie. Because you're hearing it here, and we gave you the links where you can go find this at. Which link was this one in particular?
You gotta scroll.
Yeah, it's probably way at the top. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and deal with the rise and the fall of the Dutch superpower. AP, Hezekiah, you can go ahead and read that, the history of slavery. And this is coming from, let me see, the governmental themes, history on this slavery, history in the Kingdom of the Netherlands. From, I guess, is www.governmental themes.
Yeah, so this is actually the article that's coming directly from it's on a government website that the Netherlands produced.
There you go.
So that's the source. So it's not some, author that's writing an article. This is coming directly from the government in the Netherlands on their website.
And the crazy thing about this thing here is that the Dutch try to play like, oh, we didn't have that much, to do with slavery. Lies. And guess who else you have in that community in the Dutch? I'll let you figure that one out. So the Dutch have these same people in their community that tell nothing but lies. So the Dutch, you say you didn't have anything to do with slavery? Well, let's get the documents that's coming from your government. Let's go ahead, AP.
History of slavery.
You read the last one, right? Okay, go ahead, AP. Salakia. The history of the Jews, and this is coming from the Netherlands, right? From their government, and what's held in their documents. Go ahead.
The history of slavery. For more than 300 years, adults and children were abducted from various parts of Africa by Dutch.
By who?
By Dutch.
By the Dutch. Man, this is coming from your government, from out of your information. You said that you didn't take part in slavery. It's right here. Sorry, we found out. Go ahead.
It's by Dutch and other slave traders, and transported under the most appalling conditions.
The most appalling conditions. This is how you treated us. But you're not going to get away with it, and we know that. But go ahead.
To the former Dutch colonies of Suriname and the Caribbean islands of Aruba, Bonaire, Curaçao, Saba, Saint Eustatius, and Saint Martin.
And Saint Martin. Go ahead.
They were forced to work as slaves on plantations producing.
They were forced by the Dutch. Israel. Okay? So the Dutch was also jockeying for superpower too. And they got their chance to rule, just like the Britain did, or the British did. But let's read on.
They were forced to work as slaves on plantations producing sugar, coffee, and other crops. The indigenous people of the Dutch colonies were not spared either. In Asia, enslaved people were sold and transported to areas governed by the United Dutch East Indian Company, VOC. For generations, people were born into slavery and forced to work on Dutch plantations their entire lives.
Yeah, Dutch plantations, not British, not French, not the Spanish, Dutch, who tried to say that they didn't have any involvement or very little involvement in slavery. You had your hand in it just as deep as the rest of them. Go ahead.
Slavery enabled the Netherlands to become an economic world power.
See that? You became a world power off of the backs of the children of Israel. You're not guilty in this one, in this particular case. You are guilty as charged. Go ahead. The impact on society.
For too long, the Netherlands' role in the history of slavery received little or no attention.
See that? It received little or no attention. This is why they say, well, we didn't really have nothing to do with slavery, but you did. Even though it received little or no attention, we have the proof right here. We have the receipts that you was all in it in the same way that the rest were. Go ahead.
But it is important to know our history and to commemorate the suffering, the struggles, and the far-reaching effects of slavery. This is important not only to ensure that we know what happened and acknowledge that it must never happen again, but also because its impact is still felt in society today. We see this in a lack of equal opportunities, discrimination, and racism.
Still see that to this day. Go ahead.
This can lead to unequal treatment in, for example, education, employment, and the legal system.
And we know that all too well here in America and all the countries where we're scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. I'm sure that you have your stories that you can tell about these particular 10 horns that had you in captivity or still under their rulership. Go ahead.
Apology for
So we got the Netherlands apology coming. And you know when it's coming from them, you can forget about it. You guys can keep your apology. Because I'm going to tell you something, right? You got the Amalekites who did something horrible to the children of Israel when they came out of the land of Egypt. It was grimy. And 500 years later, the Most High remembered what was done to the children of Israel and ordered Saul to kill every last one of them. So you might be apologizing. That's not good enough. Your apologies are not good enough. You got to come and acknowledge your offense and restore the pledge. Give back that which you have stole. And then get in line and get in order, and all the punishments that are slated to come to you shall not happen to you. And that's recorded in scriptures. But we already know you're not giving that up. You want that power with the beast. You want to serve the beast. That beast, Hasatan, that is your daddy. This is who you serving. So we know you're not coming out of that. And we know you're not giving back all the wealth that you took. But it's going to be taken. So let's finish this up.
Apology for the Netherlands' role in the history of slavery. In a speech on 19th of December 2022, Prime Minister Mark Rutte apologized for the past actions of the Dutch government.
Yeah, after you lied and said you barely had nothing to do with it. Okay.
The apology was extended to all people who were sold into slavery and suffered as a consequence.
Yeah, but all of them wasn't treated as bad as us. Go ahead.
As well as to their children, grandchildren, and all their descendants up to the present day.
Well, listen, how about giving us some reparations? You apologize. How about throwing some money in our pockets? How about doing that? Go ahead.
After the speech, members of the government traveled to Suriname and the islands of Aruba, Curaçao, St. Martin, Bonaire, St. Eustatius, and Saba, where they met with representatives of organizations and authorities to talk about what the apology means for the local community.
Yeah, it meant nothing, really. What did they do for the local community? How much money was given? Because it's you had the Chinese that was here during the gold rush, and you locked them up. And if I'm not mistaken, each family got $20,000 for being locked up for what, 10 years?
Yeah.
Or less than that?
Mm-hmm.
Where's our reparations? You don't care nothing about us. And in fact, there may be some Negroes out there that are looking for that reparations. We don't want nothing from you.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Abraham had made a comment, we'll make the same comment. We don't want anything from you because we don't want you to say that you made us rich and not the Heavenly Father.
That's right.
So you keep your apology, you keep your money, you keep everything. In fact, you keep that face until Yahweh Shai come and raise us up. You keep that same stance, you keep that same face. Let's read on.
When the Dutch became a superpower, the Dutch Republic emerged as a world power in the late 16th century, achieving its peak influence during the 17th century, especially in the period from the 1580s to the 1660s.
So you see in this time, right, if you remember some of the dates, 16th century, 17th century, 18th century, and 19th century is when the British started trying to do their thing. So you can see where they was jockeying for that position of power during those same centuries, but the Dutch eventually ended up overcoming and being on top until the 17th century. And then Britain, as they were coming up also, dominated. They dominated the Dutch because there were certain factors that was going on with the Dutch. They had different clansmen and members that wasn't fully united. So there was little skirmishes going on between them where the Britons was able to come in and take advantage of that and eventually overthrew them. But just go into the history. It'll tell you how they fell and why they fell. But go ahead and finish reading that.
This era is known as the Dutch Golden Age.
The Dutch Golden Age. Go ahead.
When the country became one of the wealthiest and most influential nations in the world.
Even over Britain at that time. Go ahead.
Economic dominance. The Dutch East Indian Company, VOC, monopolized lucrative Asian trade routes, making the Netherlands the leading global trading hub. Naval supremacy. By the mid-1600s, the Dutch Navy was unmatched in size and skill.
See that? And it's important to see that, right? Because we saw that the Britons, right, they had total hegemony, and that hegemony and what they was done was unrivaled at the time. Here you're seeing the same thing. This is showing you that they had full power from the beast to rule that 1 hour or part of that 1 hour with the beast. So they had their chance, they had their time where they were in total hegemony, rulership. Nobody had the hegemony or the power that this particular horn had at its time of rulership. And then eventually their time was up, and then the Brits came in. Go ahead.
Again, by the mid-1600s, the Dutch Navy was unmatched in size and skill, enabling control of key sea lanes and protection of trade. Third point, global reach. The Dutch controlled colonies and trading posts in Asia, Africa, and the Americas, though not as many as Spain or Britain.
Right, so they had their foot in it, but not as much or as many as Spain and Britain. Go ahead.
Their peak period, the Golden Age, 1625 to 1667. The Dutch Republic's influence was at its height, rivaling Spain and even China in wealth.
Rivaling Spain and China in wealth. So Spain haven't, what I can say is with Spain, as you know, the order of decay, Spain has lost its power, and eventually this new horn came up to be able to rule. But go ahead. As a matter of fact, hold on to that. Han Rashim, you can go ahead and pick up where colonial competition.
Colonial competition. While the Dutch maintained profitable colonies in the Caribbean and Southeast Asia, They could not match the territorial expanses of British, Spanish, and French empires. The limited size and scope of the Dutch colonies restricted their economic and strategic advantages. The Dutch connection with Rome spans multiple eras.
See that? The Dutch connection with Rome spans multiple eras. This is showing you that the Dutch had a connection with Rome, as they all did. All those 10 toes have a connection with Rome. If there's no connection with Rome, they're not part of the 10 toes. You can spin it how you want to. Let's finish.
Beginning with the Roman Empire's occupation of the southern Netherlands and extending to deep-rooted religious ties with the Vatican and shared legal frameworks.
There goes the deep religious ties with the Vatican and shared legal framework. So the Vatican had their hands in that too. They were the ones to show the Dutch, listen, it's all right to go get these slaves over here, because if they're not keeping the commandments, we can come against them with no repercussions, because they're not keeping the commandments. So they gave them the permission to go ahead and do what they've done. And they did it without no, no remorse. Because they felt like, well, you know, the Vatican, the Pope, is the, what's that word called? The visceral of Christ?
Vicar.
The vicar of Christ. He's in the stead of the Most High, the Heavenly Father. Whatever the Pope says, it's like it's coming from the mouth of God. So they said we can enslave those people. We enslaved them. And they said not to enslave the indigenous people of the Americas. They did not enslave them. So again, how can they be a part of the nation of Israel? They're not. Like I said, not throwing any salt at all, but bringing out the truth of the matter. Let's go ahead and finish reading.
The Holy Roman Empire and papal ties. Following the fall of the Western Roman Empire, the Netherlands became part of the medieval Holy Roman Empire.
Right. It wasn't holy. It was nothing holy about the Roman Empire. In fact, it was unholy. Go ahead.
And can I add something, priest?
Go right ahead.
The Holy Roman Empire speaks to the Western part of the division. It's not talking about the Eastern part. So this is a name that they gave it. And its religious life was placed under the spiritual authority of the Pope in Rome. After the Protestant Reformation, Roman Catholicism was banned in the Dutch Republic. The restoration of the Catholic Episcopal hierarchy in 1853 and the subsequent period of intense religious identity known as Het Rijk Roemsleven cemented lasting cultural ties with the Vatican.
Cultural ties with the Vatican, showing that connection again with these 10 horns and the Vatican. They all playing that role in what's taking place in these last days of these prophecies, dealing with the 7 heads and the 10 horns, right? And also the vision that Daniel saw, the figure, and at the end of it was the 10 toes. The 10 toes is the end of this road. We're on number 5 now. And when this series is over, we're going to see what toe we're at. And you got to know that after that, what happened? What happened after he saw the vision of the 10 toes? He saw a stone or a mountain cut out with hands that came down and destroyed the whole image, broke it into pieces. Whose empire was that? It was our empire. We come in after it's all over. But before then, you guys in rulership, and it's just about done. It's just about over. Go ahead.
The transatlantic slave trade, volume. The Dutch transported approximately 5 to 6% of the total enslaved Africans across the Atlantic, making them the 5th largest carrier. Key players, the Dutch West Indian Company held a state-granted monopoly to conduct the triangular trade between Europe, Africa, and the Americas.
And they had a monopoly. And guess who else was a foot in there? You already know. Do I got to say it? I'll give you a hint. They got little flippers as hands. And they got a beak, and they're black and white. The penguins. Let's read on.
Trade hubs. Rather than just transporting enslaved people directly to the plantations, the Dutch utilized Caribbean islands like Curacao and St. Eustatius as major staging posts for reselling and dispatching captives to Spanish colonies.
So they had their foot all up in slavery. You are found guilty. Go ahead.
Colonial plantations, Dutch Guyana or Suriname. The Dutch shipped hundreds of thousands of Africans directly to Suriname and other South American settlements to endure grueling forced labor
forced labor. Go ahead.
on sugar and coffee plantations.
Yeah, they were nice people. And they're still not nice people. Go ahead.
Resistance. The brutality of the system led to massive resistance. Nearly 1 in 10 enslaved people in Suriname escaped into the rainforest to form autonomous maroon communities.
Yeah, and the Maroons,
Vicious.
if you know anything about the Maroons, and I know more than a handful that can tell you, that have told me the story about their ferocious willingness to come against the enemy. Okay, so we got the Maroons here. Go ahead.
And they all Hebrew from West Africa.
Exactly.
Communities that fought for and won formal treaties.
And won. Fought for and won. Serious. Go ahead.
with colonial authorities, North America. During their colonization of the region, the Dutch brought enslaved labor to New Amsterdam,
which is present-day New York. And we read about that earlier, about them going into New York. And who was there running things? The Jewish community. Hands down. Go ahead.
to help cultivate agricultural lands.
Go ahead and read that, the Jewish involvement, and then you get me Deuteronomy 28, and we can begin to bring this thing to a close. So go ahead.
Dutch Jewish involvement. The Caribbean market on the island of Curacao, which served as a major distribution hub for the Spanish colonies, Dutch Jewish merchants.
Well, there we go. Dutch Jewish merchants. Britain Jewish merchants. New York Jewish merchants. They were all Jewish merchants that try to say they didn't have their hand in slavery, and here we have it. In every nation, those Jews are right there, especially those 10 horns, to make sure that they monitor, right, and have a hand in punishing or getting rid of us. So let's finish reading this out.
Dutch Jewish merchants were heavily engaged as middlemen.
See, heavily. You were heavily engaged as the middlemen. You made billions of dollars off the slave trade, off of our backs. And you still getting money from this government off of our backs. And you already know. If you don't already know, you guys got to do the research. These guys are still up to their same old tricks. Nothing different. Go ahead.
Historians estimate the accounted for the resale of at least 15,000 enslaved people.
And you know it was more than that.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Plantation economy in Suriname. In Dutch Guyana, Suriname, Jewish colonists established an agricultural enclave.
Who did this?
The Jewish colonists.
Jewish colonists. Name just keeps popping up. Go ahead.
Established an agricultural enclave known as Joden Savani, the Jewish Savannah.
The Jewish Savannah. That's out in Guyana, Dutch Guyana. You guys are out there. Go ahead.
At its peak, this community owned about 40 plantations.
This Jewish community owned about how many plantations?
40.
40. Ain't no telling how much land they owned, but they owned. Go ahead.
More than 40 acres.
Yeah, sure enough.
And thousands of enslaved people.
Yeah, our people. It's like they're trying to swing it like they had all different kind of people enslaved. You just had our people in slavery. Knock it off.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Historical perspectives on Jewish complicity. Rabbi Lodi van de Kamp has written extensively on the subject, urging Dutch Jewish communities to confront this historical reality.
Yeah, deal with it. Your own rabbi, what's his name? Lodi Van de Kamp, was asking you, listen, just come to terms with what you did, embrace it, and do what is necessary to make amends for it. But they're not going to do that. I already know they're not going to do it. So read that again with Rabbi.
Rabbi Lodi Van de Kamp has written extensively on the subject,
Extensively on this subject,
urging Dutch Jewish communities to confront this historical reality. Van de Kamp says the exhibition sparked his interest in the Dutch Jewish role in slavery, which was robust.
it was what?
Robust.
Robust. Oh, they had little to no involvement in slavery. No, it was robust.
Straight from Cuddy.
Straight from your own people. So who's lying? Him or are we lying? He's only corroborating what we're saying, that you had us in captivity. So let's read.
On the Caribbean island of Curacao, Dutch Jews may have accounted for the resale of at least 15,000 slaves landed by the Dutch transatlantic slave traders.
Yeah, and we know it was more than that. These guys don't tell the truth. At what point did they ever tell the truth?
Yeah, Cuddy tried to soften it up there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you
Yeah,
did tell the
lowballed the
truth.
number.
You
He-
said you worship Baal.
15,000.
Yeah.
Okay, so you told the truth on that you worship Satan, Baal. So let's go to Deuteronomy, 28th chapter, so we can close this out. So go ahead and start and read everything until 37.
Highlighted or just
Yeah, we're gonna read 15. Oh, just read the 15th verse and then jump to 27 to 37.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Abba Yahweh thy power, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So it was said when we was coming under covenant, the sixth covenant of Moses, when we was coming under covenant with the Most High, he said, if you keep these commandments, there'll be blessings. But if you don't, there'll be curses. And in fact, we see that they didn't keep those commandments. So the curses was the fact that these other nations came to rule over us, got up very high, and we came down very low. And we've seen the examples of these particular nations that had us in captivity. They were world superpowers when they had us in captivity. They dominated the earth for a particular time when they had us in captivity. So, did you finish that? Finish that up.
Yeah, that was finished. On
Okay, now
15.
jump to 27.
The Most High will smite thee with the botch of Egypt.
So in this curse, in this captivity, in this hell that we're catching, the Most High said he was going to smite us with all the plagues of Egypt. This was going to happen to us here. And it is, in fact, it's happening to us on several levels. Go ahead.
And with the emerods,
Right, which is like internal diseases like hemorrhoids. Go ahead.
and with the scab, and with the itch, whereof thou canst not be healed.
So, Yaki, you can't heal everybody and everything. All right, so the Most High said you was going to get these things, and in these cases, you will not be able to be healed. This is why certain folks can go and get healed and other folks cannot.
Mm-hmm.
This is part of the curses. This is why we're all sick here. And unfortunately, even though these folks was involved in the slave trade, you have become a victim of it also. The rich among your people don't care nothing about you. So you've kind of been thrown in the pot with us. But nonetheless, I would say if this is how much your people care for you, you need to join us. Come in there and join this team that the Most High is putting together to fight against these evil spirits of sin and all those who are willing to do their will. Come and join us and help us fight against these lies and these evil workings of these evil spirits of sin. Because the real enemy is sin, not these nations.
Yes.
But go ahead.
Verse 28. The Most High shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart.
So the Most High has smitten you with madness and blindness. The madness is you going through mental illness. Think about what men and women are talking about. how they're handling, marital situations, family situations, any situation for that matter. It's mental illness. Look at how the women are talking. Yeah, I'm looking for a man that has 6 figures. I got 4 baby daddies. I'm 200 pounds overweight, and I think I'm a 10, and I want a high-value man. That's mental illness. Sister, you'll never find a high-value man, and you'll never, ever find you a man in general, especially at an older age. Most women that are 40 and above, a lot of you are single, and more now than ever before. The divorce rate is higher than it's ever been. So you women, and I'm not just talking about the women, because the men, they're delusional too.
Mm-hmm.
And how they move. You got men that got women taking care of them. What kind of man is that? That's a badge of honor that you got women taking care of you? That's not a badge of honor. That's mental illness. So the Most High has smitten us with that madness and blindness. So when you can't see that this crazy madness that's going on with you, you calling it peace. The delusion that's going on, you think is normal. It's abnormal. There's nothing normal about what's going on. So these are the curses that we're going through. Go ahead.
Verse 29, and thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth at darkness, and thou shalt not prosper, Selah, in thy ways.
So we got here, thou shalt grope at noonday as a blind man gropeth in darkness. You don't know where you're going. You don't know what you're doing. You don't have no true leadership, and you're in darkness. And thou shalt not prosper. And the word that is used here is the word Selah, which means praise. And it says, in the way, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways. So here, the word that they left out was covenant, eth. And thou shalt not prosper in thy covenant. So this is, when you go into the translation, this is what it's talking about. You shall not praise or be able to praise the Most High in your covenant, because you're in captivity. And how many of you are praising the Most High the right way? We ain't just talking about song and dance. We're talking about giving up oblations, sacrifices unto the Most High. If you're not doing that, you're not worshiping. So you will not be able to praise the Most High in your covenant. Go ahead.
And thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee.
No man shall save thee, which the word that is used there is Yeshua, which meaning Savior. Meaning that you're not going to have the priesthood to come in and perform these rites for you to eventually allow you to come into the covenant to be delivered. So you're not going to have a priesthood, you're not going to have a covenant, and you're not going to be able to sacrifice unto the Most High, because all of these are a part of the curses. Let's go ahead and finish this up.
Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lay with her.
Yeah, did that not happen in slavery? We already know what happened in slavery, but think about today. We can have a wife, and she goes and sleep with another man. And then ultimately, which everybody should know, because we're all in some way connected to this so-called rap culture. There is no rap culture, but your woman chose me. And what was that word? Would you use that to that?
He said we can play it cool, or we can get into some gangster.
Taking your wife, telling you she chose me, and we can get gangster if you want to. This is another man lying with your wife. In today's, the way we looking at it today, slavery, we had those slave owners that was using the slaves to be able to lay down with them, men, women, and children, to lay with them at will. Anytime they wanted to, they can use these slaves how they wanted. And you mean to tell me when it was time to give them up, that they was actually going to give them up? This is why they went to war, to hold on to the privileges that they had with these slaves. And in fact, it is written and recorded that over 500,000 people died during this civil war. And they saying that more people died in this war, right, against freeing the slaves than they did in World War I and World War II combined. So these people that was here in rulership was not giving up these slaves easily. I'm willing to fight against family, friends, and foes to make sure that we keep these slaves here.
Mm-hmm.
That goes to show you how much that slavery had a grip on them, and they was not trying to let us go. And in fact, when the industrial age came, it was like, hey, we could just bring them in here to work for us for pennies and dollars and still make that money.
Mm-hmm.
And they did. So let's read on. Let's finish this up.
Thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell within.
How many guys out there that are carpenters that are building homes and don't live in them whatsoever? How many of us have built homes and then it's gotten taken away from us by the government? Go ahead.
Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shalt not gather the grapes thereof.
You gathering the vineyards, you gathering the food for them, and you either getting fake food or old rotten food to begin with. So you can plant it. You're working on the plant on these what do you call them? Vineyards.
Con.
And some of these groves or whatever places that grow apples and oranges. And for the most part, you guys are not really eating of that. You're not making any money off of that. They'll give you crumbs compared to the money that they're making off of that. So these are part of the curses that would come and has come and are still upon us.
Can I add something, priest?
Go right ahead.
So early we had talked about Rosewood and some of these other communities that we built that were flourishing even more so than, our Caucasian counterparts.
Yeah.
And these are vineyards that they built. These businesses, these bus lines, these banks, everything that they did. And like you said, they came and burned it down. And it's like, you're not going to gather any of these grapes. You're not going to profit from this. They just burn it to the ground.
All praises. So go ahead, AP.
Verse 31, thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof.
Stop right there. What did we do with oxes? What did the priesthood in our culture, I gave it away, do with the oxes? They sacrificed them, and what else did they do with them? They ate of them. So we had these oxes, we had these lambs and sheep. We had them, but then we wasn't able to give up no oblations. After the Most High put those curses on us, we didn't have the power to do that. They was coming in, taking them, killing them, and we were not able to give up those oblations or even eat of them because the strangers came in and took everything. Go ahead.
Thine ass shall be violently taken away from before thy face, and shall not be restored to thee.
Right. They've taken everything that we've had.
Thy sheep shall be given unto thine enemy, and thou shalt have none to rescue them.
Right. What happened to all of our riches?
Mm-hmm.
It was dispersed among the nations. Go ahead.
Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail for longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hand.
So we know slavery, right? A particular scene when the slave named Kizzy, she got her daughter taken from her, and she was highly upset. And they took the daughter from her, and the scene showed the daughter going off in a wagon, and then Kizzy on the back dragging, right, on the back of the cart, begging not to take her daughter. Then she fell off, but she had no might in her hands to stop it. None of us did. And now, and today, you're bringing it up today, the DCF comes to your house, the Child Protective Services come to your house over maybe a lie. Some of it can be true. I mean, you guys are suffering from mental illness, so a lot of that stuff is probably true. But they come in, and they see what's going on, and they take your children, and you never see them again. And you don't have no power in your hand to stop it. These are curses. These are not blessings. They're curses. Go ahead.
Verse 33, the fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up.
And it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Slavery in itself, we don't need to speak any more of that. Go ahead.
And thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed away.
We're still being oppressed to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Verse 34, so that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes, which thou shalt see.
A lot of them going crazy. A lot of you are literally mad. A lot of you have developed mental illness behind the trauma. that we're experiencing in slavery. Go ahead.
Verse 35. The Heavenly Father shall smite thee in the knees and in the legs with a sore botch that cannot be healed, from the sole of thy feet unto the top of thy head.
So what's coming? Get ready for it. Yaki's not going to be able to save you.
Save you.
None of them that know herbs is not going to be able to help you in this time to come. This time to come, the scriptures say that you shall seek and look for death, and it shall flee from you.
And
the
I know
time that's coming, be ready, because you're not going to escape that easily. Go ahead.
I said, I know we kind of jest about them, but our people find salvation in every area: economics, education. You're not going to find salvation in these areas. It's not going to save us from the plight that we're currently in.
We've been through it already before.
Yeah.
We talked about earlier the economic base that we did with Black Wall Street.
Right.
What happened to that? It didn't save us. In fact, they came in and destroyed us. Destroyed everything, burnt everything to the ground, and killed a lot of us too. So let's go ahead.
Verse 36. The Heavenly Father shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, and there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone.
Right, let's think about the 7 heads, and now let's think about the 10 horns, where we are serving them and their other gods, and many other gods who our fathers did not serve. Let's go.
Verse 37.
And then after that, jump to 68.
And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither the Heavenly Father shall lead thee.
Yeah, that's why nobody wants to be around us. We're the first five, the last hive. We got this bad name in Proverbs that go along with being a so-called African American.
Mm-hmm.
Just think of it. You name them. It's out there. 68.
Verse 68. And the Heavenly Father shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee.
So now we got the prophecy here in the 68th verse saying the Heavenly Father was going to bring us into Egypt, which is a Greek word meaning bondage. The Most High said we was going into bondage again with ships. This is what we're reading about. We're reading about those 10 horns who brought us into captivity by way of ships. And all of them took a heavy interest on the children of Israel in particular. So this prophecy is pertaining to us. Go ahead and read on.
Thou shalt see it no more again, and there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
So the Most High told us when we were sold into that slavery, when we go into captivity, we wasn't going to be able to see our land anymore again. We have not been there since. We might have been there to visit, but as a nation, we have not been back there as a nation, as a family, as a people. Individually, yes, many of us went back, but we're not living there. And some of us that did go back there, how are we being treated? All you got to do is just look up the information. You'll see.
Mm-hmm.
I don't got to say anything else. The truth is out there. And it says, and you shall be sold to your enemies for male and female slaves, and no man shall save you out of this condition. Economics shall not save you. You know what I mean? An army will not save you. Nothing is going to save you but coming under covenant with the Most High and acknowledging your offense and keeping those laws, statutes, and commandments in your particular covenant. So let's go to Leviticus 26:40 to 42. And we'll end with this scripture right here.
If they shall confess their iniquity.
It's talking about Moses talking to the children of Israel when you guys have fallen away as you have done this day. So if you come back to the Most High and you confess your iniquity, the wrongdoings that you have done, the trespasses that you have committed against the Most High, and all the sins that you've accumulated because of your trespasses, go ahead.
In the iniquity of their fathers.
And acknowledge the wrongdoings of your fathers. Go ahead.
With their trespass.
With their trespasses. Go ahead.
Which they trespass against me, and that also they have walked contrary unto me.
So the Most High said, if you acknowledge this thing, what you have done, who you are, what you're supposed to be doing, what you have not done. Go ahead.
And that I also have walked contrary unto them.
Right, because we have turned our backs on the Most High. He turned his back on us. Go ahead.
And have brought them into the land of their enemies.
Where do you think we are now? To this day, 2026, in the land of our enemies. Go ahead.
If then their uncircumcised hearts be humbled, and then they accept of the punishment of their iniquity, then will I remember my covenant with Jacob, and also my covenant with Isaac, and also my covenant with Abraham.
Look at all the covenants that's here. Go ahead.
Will I remember, and I will remember the land.
Right. So if we do these things, the Most High says that if we stop saying that the white man is the reason for our downfall, right, and start saying that we're responsible for it, we're taking ownership of it, nobody's responsible for what happened to us but us, then the Most High says, when you come up under that covenant, you see the covenant that he had with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. When you come under your specific covenant, then the Most High will remember, right, what he had. He will remember his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He said he will remember, and he will remember the land, and to pull us out of this captivity and set us back in that land to be rulers of the earth. But we have to come back first. We got to come under the covenant, not of Moses' covenant, but the Davidical covenant, the seventh covenant, to be consecrated in this covenant, and then keep those laws, statutes, and commandments that are required for us to do. And one of them is to give up a sin offering, trespass offering, peace and thanksgiving offering among many. So with that,
Yeah, and I was going to add to this.
anything to
We
say?
see examples of what Moses had explained in this passage by our forefathers. Nehemiah, you read the prayer of Nehemiah, the prayer of the three Hebrew boys.
Done.
All this was exemplified, in Maccabees, the mother and the seven sons.
There you go.
He
There
said,
you go.
look, you don't have any power over us. We did this.
Done.
So, this is powerful. We have to, it's like what Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yeah.
You got to come and say, I'm an
I'm
alcoholic.
an alcoholic.
This is what I've done. This ain't because of what my father did to me or what my mother did to me, which could be peripheral, but I did this to myself. So I just want to add that, priest.
Yeah, I am a transgressor. I have transgressed the laws of the Heavenly Father and broken my covenant.
Con.
And this is what we have to acknowledge. So with that, we're going to shut down this class and open up for Q&A. Hopefully you got a lot out of this class. And I hope you stay tuned for the next several classes up until the feast, the closing of the Feast of Weeks. There's a lot of information to come out. And I believe that in the last leg of this thing, a lot of you are going to be amazed, shocked, and probably praising the Most High. Like I said, we're at the toes now. We're not at the torso. We're not at the head. Right. We're at the toes. We're at the end of this journey now. And you need to be aware of it, and you need to start getting serious. And as we said in the last series, I'm going to say it in this series, you need to get your house in order. Because if not, this thing is going to be over with, and you're going to be sitting there holding the bag. And it's not going to be good. And it's not the bag of money. It's the bag of behind whooping. That's what you're going to be holding. So let us start. You got something you want to say?
No, like I said, the scriptures say weeping and gnashing of teeth.
Yeah. So let's start in the audience for the Q&A and then go online to Q&A. So any questions out there in the audience? I saw a hand up. It was actually a fist. Maybe he was saying power to the people. Okay. Oh, sister got a question. All right, sis. There you go.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
I just have a
Shalom.
comment. What you were saying about Ghana, the president of Ghana.
Yeah.
That was funny to me because I was just catching up on current events, and maybe a few months ago he came out here to conduct some type of going to the nations to demand reparations for us. And I just thought that was strange.
Yeah.
And,
Let's see what happens with that.
right.
Interesting.
And it didn't go, nothing came of that. The next day, I think Ghana got hit with a flood. And then maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, I saw that he is now, and I watched it myself, but he's trying to gain reparations by stating, well, the slave owners in the United States were given reparations when the slaves were set free. And we're entitled to that because, and I'm just like, no, because when you sold the slaves, that was it.
Yeah.
And I doubt you had insurance anyway.
Yeah, for sure. They collected on that insurance.
Yes, and then I know they do that year return for us. It's all about $1, just getting money.
Yeah, and I was about to mention that too. I think it's all about them. Look, we're here trying to fight for your reparations. If not, come to Ghana so we can get all the money that you got and exploit you while you're there. So
yes, to get us to build their nation up.
Yeah, I wouldn't buy into none of that crap that he's talking about. Listen, if you want to buy into something, buy into what the Heavenly Father has told us. And we're bringing out the information. Like Chief Priest has said it best, we're not claiming to be prophets, but we're claiming to have an understanding of their prophecies that was given to us by the Holy Spirit to be able to break down to us, which was necessary for our time. Remember Daniel? The Most High told him to seal up the book. The rest of the stuff is not for your time or for you to know. It's for the brothers at the end. Well, we're the brothers at the end. All of this stuff is being revealed. So if you want to involve yourself in anything, involve yourself in coming back home to Abba Yahweh.
And can I add something to what she was saying? So yeah, like the mindset of the people that's leaving America, I can understand that. There's a lot of craziness going on in America, but you can't run from these curses. And these people that are repatriating to other countries, specifically Ghana and these other places, this is a Babylonian system. Babylon don't only exist in America.
Right.
It's a system that spans the whole globe. So wherever you go, you're going to be under that Babylonian system. And like Abba Yahweh said, these curses are going to follow you.
Wherever you go.
So I look at these people that are going to the Philippines or to Taiwan, and they're getting some really good deals. But all it takes is one piece of legislation in that land to change.
Done.
And for them to take everything that you have and you have nothing there. I say the best place to be is in the will of Abba Yahweh and to be under the covenant.
And waiting on his righteousness.
So although I hate a lot that goes on in this, that goes on in this country, I know that I'm in the perfect will of the Most High, being and where he wants me to be. And there's provision where the Most High wants you to be.
Right.
So be in the will of Abba.
Right. No matter where you are.
Right. If he allows you to go to another country, cool. But if you're trying to force your hand and trying to escape what's going on by not identifying what we just read in Leviticus 26 and 40, it ain't gonna work.
It ain't gonna work for you.
It ain't gonna work.
You still gonna catch it. So, any other questions out in the audience? What about online? Do we got anything on the super chat or anything online?
No
any
questions
live
online.
callers?
No questions
nothing?
online.
All right. That could be a good thing or a bad thing. I'm praying that it's a good thing, though. A lot of information that came out. I'm telling you. I have not seen the likes of this since I've been in Israel. The details of what's been going on and the horns and everything that's involved. I have not seen the likes of it in Israel. Period. So with that, hopefully you got a lot out of this class. Hopefully you got a lot out of this particular series and all the series that is produced by the House of Wisdom. So may the Most High bless and keep you, and may the peace and thanksgiving offerings be multiplied unto you all. Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
Wow.
Blessed are they that do his commandments. The tree of life is his right. tree of life is his prize. Let your light shine bright before me. Let them see your good works. Glorify my Abba, which is in heaven. While I live on this earth, so I move like David. Covenant 7. Bought a blue on my shirt. Let me make my bread. It's unleavened. That's some young let's work. My spiritual body need protection, so I have to oblate. A lot of things have been revealed to me. I'm keeping the faith. Hey, how you gonna talk about you want it when it's right in your face? Ain't into his course with peace, Thanksgiving. No, we beating the case. Yeah.
I'm all the way, and hold up on time for the wake and bake. Ain't talking dank, the only thing burning is bird frame. Gotta bake the cake, 10 minutes and I'm about to elevate and meditate, annihilate. A demon ain't thought why I won't be late. And think I'm sleep, but really I'm giving meat offerings. Preset off of peace, sacrifices were never supposed to cease. We don't offer geese, that's physical, but I'ma offer me. No more physical, on the altar of Abba, yeah, I will eat from that immortal tree.
Bless the day that do his command.